and we are here with Eric Johnson. Eric, thank you so much for making some time here for me today, my man. I appreciate you. Welcome on in. Cheers. What's in the cup? It's a coffee?
Hey,
Is it water?
coffee. I'm old. I got to. I'm
Uh,
old. My body weary. I need coffee.
Drinking coffee after 8 o'clock is crazy, by the way.
When you hit 40, you become immune.
I'm 40. I don't drink the coffee. Not like that.
Also, in my defense, you're like the size of my leg. I'm
Hey,
I'm like the size
not
of a tank.
anymore. Not anymore. Not anymore. I used to be less the size of your leg. I'm getting
Okay,
some weight
you're
over the years.
you're the size of a Volvo. I'm the size of a fucking tank.
You've been the size of a tank, and I want to thank you again for making time. I know you were sick. You were sick for a little bit. We had a very busy weekend for
Yeah,
you
for sure.
this weekend. Can you tell us a little bit about this weekend you just had?
That was a double header weekend. On Friday, MPW had a show in Skowhegan, and then on Saturday, Ring Wars had a show in Brewer, and it was
Mm,
packed in Brewer.
yeah,
I mean, I'm sure you saw the picture and everything
yeah.
online. Over 200 people in the Brewer Auditorium. It was called the Brewer Auditorium. It's not now, but it'll always be the Brewer Auditorium to me. So over 200 people. It was stacked. Decent local card, 6 matches. It was a good time. It was
Oh, good.
packed. I was very happy with the turnout, and everybody seemed to really love the show.
Busy
Only
weekend.
thing bad about it was that ODB didn't make it up for the weekend, but
Oh, yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
people didn't. It didn't deter a lot of people. I think we refunded 5 tickets for that, so it wasn't really a big deal. A lot of people just still enjoyed the show. It was a busy weekend.
Yes, we did see the picture that you posted up there for the over 200 people for that event. I'm surprised that
Yeah,
people um, refunded, even if it was just 5 people out of 200
it's just
for the
5.
tickets.
Well, you're gonna get that with any name.
Uh,
Obviously, we had some weird weather that weekend, which hit all area parts of the state, like here, there, and everywhere. And from where ODB was flying out of, she was getting hit hard.
mm,
And her delay went from an hour and a half to 5 hours to 6 hours, eventually hit
yeah,
cancel. And even if she had taken the flight, she had a connecting flight, and you don't know where the weather is going to be, where it's connecting at, if she's going to be
hmm,
even able to land, or if they're going to put her somewhere else. And
right.
we just thought it was best when they finally canceled her flight. I'm like, she was trying to figure it out. And we're like, you're not, even if we work this out, you're not going to make it, because there were storms going all over the
Yeah,
place.
yeah.
So there was no
Unpredictable
safe
weather.
place to send her
Yep,
to even get a connecting flight to get here. So, and she understood, and we're just going to try to get her back up here
that's
at another
awesome.
time before she
That's
retires,
awesome.
because she's on her farewell tour. So we're trying to get up here before she
That is
retires.
right. I still feel like even if she retires, we could. I'm sure you could find a spot for something to
Well,
do.
I think she'd still do it because of the situation, because she
Yeah.
was super pumped. She was asking me and a bunch of other people about food spots in the area that she wanted to check out, places she wanted to go, see Stephen King's house, things like that,
Yeah.
stuff like the usual hoopla for
Yeah.
coming to this area.
So when it comes to the talent that we get booked during this season, especially for those who are not familiar with this, is that a risk that you take during this time of season? Because we know, like you said, the weather it's a hit or miss around this time.
We thought we would have cleared it because it's
Mm,
March, it's
yeah.
midway through March. We're like, the worst of it's usually December, January, February.
Mhm, mhm,
And sometimes we do back in November. Sometimes we do get a snowy Thanksgiving, and sometimes we don't. So,
yeah.
but most of the time, December, January, February are the worst months, and we got hit. It's sucks. It wasn't a lot, but it deterred a lot of flight. Plus, I guess there's a lot of stuff going on with TSA issues right now too.
Mm,
I saw online, like,
yeah.
a lot of people are walking out because they're not getting paid or something. I was
Yeah.
hearing about it on the news, and I was like, wow,
Some sort
I
of
had no idea. So
partial.
that probably added to it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's so.
Yeah. Some sort of partial
Yeah.
shutdown or something's happening. That I just heard about it today. Actually, there's some sort of partial shutdown. Then I'm getting paid. Then I'm stepping away from working. So I get that.
So,
It'd be cool to have ODB come to the state, even after retirement, to kind of just make up, to no faults
yeah.
of her own, of course, to come to the state
I
of Maine.
mean,
It'd be cool.
a little bit of secret information, but we'll put it out there now because it's already
Yeah,
past
for
due.
sure.
He actually blew off Impact TNA to come to our weekend because they had just did an
Mm,
angle with her, and they were going to be here in her area, and they asked her if she wanted to do TV. And she's like, yeah, you can arrange my new, like, we already paid for flights and everything.
Yeah.
She's like, if we can arrange for a flight so I can leave as soon as the show's over or that evening and still get to Maine in time. And they tried to hook it up and they couldn't do it. So that maybe would have been a good sign there. If TNA can't figure it out,
Mm-hmm.
that's probably a good sign. So she ended up not taking the booking with TNA
Wow.
because she thought she was going to have the weekend. Yeah. Now I feel terrible because I'm like, her whole 3 days got
She could have
in
had
the
that.
conference.
Is what you're saying, right? She could have
Yeah.
had that booking instead of
We
trying to
would
book
have
a record.
understood. They'd be like, no, go. If you can't get up here anyway, go there.
Wow.
You know, make your money and be on TV, which would then in turn probably get her more bookings on her farewell tour, if not even if it got her a job. If it got her a job, I'm like, hey, your last run, you're signed.
Yeah.
Let's go. Good for you, you know, well, get it. But it sucks all around. She lost a lot.
That's pretty amazing that you were able to get her on that farewell tour, even though the circumstances with the flights and whatnot. But that's still pretty awesome to see that she was on a farewell tour. And there's somebody else who's going on the farewell tour. We're definitely going to get into that, which a lot of us in the state are very sad about. But we understand. But we'll get to that in a minute. But here's the thing that there's two people in this business for myself, and I've been around in wrestling one way or the other since 2008 officially. 2008, 2009 is 2026. Two people that I've always wished I had a closer relationship with, and it's not too late. One of them is going to be Jonathan King up here in Northern Maine. I was just talking to him today. He's up here with Crown of Maine, and the other person is you. I wish that we would have been able to build a better relationship, and it's still time, and we're so far away from each other. It's going to be like that, right? We know, right. Well, we know who you are. We know of you, and we respect you, and we love Eric Johnson. But one thing that a lot of us up here don't know is, where did you get your start, and who trained you? Those are some questions that we don't know, and I would love for you to be able to share here today on this podcast.
Well, it started. Well, first off, I always as a kid I watched wrestling. That's usually the story with anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, I was the late 80s, early 90s kid I loved the flat top Sting. You know, that was my guy back. And I was like, yeah, he always had the flamboyant colors. I was like, let's go. You know, like that was my guy.
Yeah.
So anyway, as I got older, when I got into high school, I was doing amateur wrestling. Well, my senior year, and mind you, I've been watching wrestling that entire time. My senior year, I knew somebody that knew Ken Banks, who used to be Legion Freaking Cage, who ran Rampage Pro Wrestling.
Okay.
Well, he didn't run Rampage Pro anymore, but he was still actively wrestling for New Wrestling Horizons.
Yep.
And so she introduced me to him. He introduced me to Larry Huntley. So I was still in high school, still doing amateur wrestling. I was doing day school and night school so I could make sure I can graduate. Somehow I was able, and I'm working a job, by the way, too. I was working at a movie gallery back then because I was 18, so I could work at a movie gallery. So first job ever, working at a video rental store. That shows how old I am because those don't even exist anymore. So I start traveling all the way down to Buxton, Maine to train with Larry Huntley every week. And I would also do any shows they had on the weekends. I could do it because I would just, as long as I had enough time to get the day off, and I'd go. And I had my license, and I was driving, and it was killing me. Between day school, night school, working a job. And I went for about 6 months, and then an incident happened during that 6 months. I remember Larry was sick, so Dangerous Donnie was helping train me because Larry had like the flu or something.
What is it? Dangerous Donnie?
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, and I remember because Hazard, 23 Hazard, back then it was Paul Hudson. He was sitting on the top rope, and Donnie kept clotheslining me in the throat. And I was getting pissed. I was like, you know, because mind you, like, I put up with some stuff during amateur wrestling, you know, kids trying to, back in the day when you're in high school mat wrestling, you're out there to win, you know, for your school, for your team, for your coach, the whole deal. And I've had people try to break my arm and things like that. So anyway, he kept clotheslining me in the throat. And I remember Paul Hudson going, man, you keep clotheslining him in the throat. And he's like, no, I'm not. I'm not. And I'm like, yes, you are. Because, like, you know, there's marks on my neck. So eventually, Osiris gets in there and he starts working me, and everything's cool. We're going over some stuff, and he clotheslines me, not in the throat. And we're working out and working out. And I don't know what got up Larry's butt, but then he tried shooting on me. And of course, I'm an amateur wrestler in high school at the time. And I let him, he shot on me from behind, so I didn't see it coming. And I started getting out of it, and he starts like punching me across the nose. And he broke my nose. Little did I know until after. Mind you, I'm an 18-year-old kid, and he's like, I think he's trying to forearm me across the nose, which is a wrestling thing.
Yeah.
He was punching me in the nose. And so I start bleeding. And of course, someone says something. So he stops and sees me bleeding. And I remember getting up, getting out of the ring. This is what I remember because my eyes are welling up because my nose is broken. Al Biondi was the athletic commissioner at the time. He checks on me, and I go clean myself up, and I'm pissed at this point because I'm paying for training every week on top of traveling down to Buxton. And I remember the words Al Biondi said, he's just trying to get you he's just being an asshole. He's just trying to get you to quit. He wants to see if you're going to stick around. He's like, yeah, well, I'm paying to be here and traveling and wasting my time and money when I could be working. Or, I don't need this. So I stayed for the show because the show was a show that night, and I already had in my mindset I wasn't coming back. I'm like, this is how I'm going to be treated. I've been here for like 6 months. Why am I going to bother keep doing this? And so after the show was over, I left, and ironically, my car broke down, so I couldn't go anyway. So I stopped going. Finished high school, which was only a couple months left. I actually ran into Ryan Michaels and Abe Alley. Abe Alley used to be the Heartstopper, Chase San Antone, or Captain Freedom.
I remember the name. Yeah, I remember the name.
Yeah. I ran into them at the Brewer Auditorium when WWE was coming to town. And we had a long talk because they had no idea that I'd been trained at all. I didn't know them asshole from elbow. We just ran into each other outside waiting. Back in the day when you had to wait in line to buy wrestling tickets. And we were close up front of the line, and we'd been out there for hours waiting, trying to get those good tickets. We started talking. Well, I actually just had a conversation with Ryan Michaels just a couple days ago, and he remembers this. Well, they set me up with a ride. They were going to pick me up and take me to one of Tony Atlas's shows. And I remember they crammed me in the back. Big fat kid in between these two little scrawny dudes. They crammed me in the back. And they took me to a show for Tony Atlas. Mind you, I had stopped talking to Larry or New Wrestling Horizons and all of them. Didn't ask permission, didn't care because I was so pissed off at that whole situation that had happened. And I went down to this show for Tony Atlas. And mind you, like I said, I used to be an amateur wrestler. I had my own singlet. I had to because I'm a big kid. I had to have my own custom singlet. I couldn't have like the team singlets you would have in a school. They wouldn't fit me.
Were you always a big kid? Is that what it was? You were just always.
Yeah. I was always big. I mean, I've got back then I was, mind you, I'm 18. I was 18 years old, and I was 6 feet tall, and I was probably right around 300 pounds. So I was a big kid. So I still had my singlet and wrestling shoes and pads and all the other. And I was stuff I trained in too, even when I was training with Larry. Well, I get to the show and I'm working around in the ring with a few people just because I hadn't been in a ring since I trained with Larry. And so I was working around and someone didn't show up. And Tony's thing was, if you were there, you were booked. Sounds really weird. But like if you could wrestle and you were there, he always made sure everybody had a spot in the show. Didn't mean you're getting paid a lot, but and someone had canceled or not showed up and they needed a body just to get beat up and lose. And he saw me working around, and I used to come with Ryan and Abe, and they vouched for me and said, yeah, you used to train with Larry. And then, okay. So they threw me in there. First match ever. I got thrown into the wolves. About halfway through the match went about 6 minutes roughly. Halfway through the match, I screwed up.
Who was the match with? Who was the match with?
I believe it was Chris Blackheart. I think
it was just a one-on-one. It was just a regular show.
Oh yeah, it was. I was getting squashed. I was getting jobbed out. And I think it was also like a test because Abe and Ryan had told Tony that I was super green, and and I had been training for a while and was on the verge. I was on the verge of actually about to have some squash matches at New Wrestling Horizons. A thing that pissed them off was A, my car broke down. B, they were having like a week long tour where they were bringing in, I think it was either Chris Hamrick or Gangrel for like a week, and they were doing like 4 or 5 shows, and they wanted me to go with them. I'm like, I'm still in high school. How do you want me? Like, I could do the weekend stuff. And it's like they're like, well, they were trying to get me to do the whole week, and I'm like, I can't do that. Like, I have to go to school and work. Like, I can't do that. No, I was like, I can do the weekends. They wanted me to go with them the whole week and stay in the hotels with them and travel with them. I get it to pay the dues. They were gonna have me ref some shows and then have me get squash some shows when they were short wrestlers. So the nights they were short wrestlers, they were gonna squash me out, and the nights that they had enough, I would be a referee. I'm like, yeah, I can't do that. I was like, I could do the weekend. Like, if you can't do all of it, we don't want you.
Were you going to be a over 6 feet tall, 300-pound referee?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I was not small. I was 6 foot, 300 pounds.
It's a big referee, man.
What you gonna do? I mean, I could maybe 280 at the time, but I was definitely between 280 and 300 pounds. I was a big dude for, and mind you, I'm 18 years old, so I'm a youngin'. Anyway, that didn't happen. And of course, here I am at Tony's show and getting jobbed out. And I don't even think we made it 6 minutes. I would say 5 because I screwed up 3 to 4 minutes in. So after that, I got beat up. And they hit the finish on me and they took it home, and that was it. At the end of the night, Tony was going around paying people. He put $10 in my hand and said, "This will buy you a burger and fries, kid." He's like, "You're welcome back to come back anytime you want. Just come with Ryan and come with Abe. You can come anytime you want." I said, "All right, Tony."
Hell yeah.
And Tony still remembers that to this day. And putting $10 a man, "I'll buy you a burger and fries, kid. You can come back anytime you want."
What year are we talking during that time for you?
I graduated high school in 2004. So that match probably happened somewhere before the end of the year, I believe. So that's when my first match was, before the end of the year.
Wow.
Anyway, because my senior year of high school was 2003 into 2004. So, and I'm an October baby. October 25th is my birthday. So fast tracking to the end of my farewell tour.
Wait. Yeah, I was going to ask you. Wait, when's your birthday?
It's really the day before my birthday is my last match. So it's like, happy birthday. I don't wear spandex anymore.
I caught that. Yeah, I just caught that. I was like, wait a minute.
I'll be turning 41 and not having to wrestle.
Wow. Okay. Holy smoke. It kind of brings me back because in 2007, 2008, I went down to Old Town for New Wrestling Horizons, and I did some trainings.
When they were doing the VFW Hall shows.
Most likely, I did some trainings with Legion Cage, Larry Huntley, Donnie was there, and they did 2 shows. They did Old Town and they did Fairfield. Me and my buddy were down. We helped with training, with setting up the ring, the security, teardowns. We stayed with Donnie overnights to do the Fairfield show the very next day. He put us on we slept on the floor. We slept on the floor at his place, and then we went to the next show, which is quite the experience. But Larry Huntley was just vicious to me at the time. I was much smaller. I was 21 years old at the time when we went down there to be a part of that, and I got beat up.
What was your the guy who was with you? What was his wrestling name? I'm trying to think if I was there.
So his name is Elliot, and he went as, oh my god, I'm pretty
sure. Or something.
The what?
Was it like the Machine or something that had to do with Machine?
No, the Machine is somebody else. Ryan Kercheski, who's up here at North. Wait, do you know of the Machine down there?
He came down one of those Old Town shows and got murdered by Bull Moose.
Oh,
Bull Moose dropped his ass out.
Yeah.
He came out, and before those weeks, they were doing those VFW Hall Old Town shows weekly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This will actually pick up where my story left off. So after the Tony Atlas thing, I kept going to the shows with Ryan and Abe. Well, eventually, I lived in Old Town. That's where I graduated.
Mm.
And I was living on VZ Street, which is literally 5 minutes, not even, from that VFW hall. And New Wrestling Horizons was coming to town. So I reached out. I was like, hey guys, I know I haven't talked to you guys in a bit, but you're literally going to be 5 minutes from my house. Do you guys want some help with the ring? Do you want some deal? Because I'm just like, I live down the street. I can bring a bunch of my buddies to help.
Mhm.
Mind you, my bunch of my buddies used to backyard wrestle, so they're all fucking excited. They're like, we got to put the ring up
Yeah.
and do all of it. Yeah, come on. So we all went, and I was there, and I think a couple of my buddies, one of them being Neil, maybe it was Neil or Mark Godfrey, God rest his soul.
Mm.
We
Yeah.
a couple of us
Yeah.
went, and I was there because I'd already, they remembered me, but I knew they were pissed, but they remembered me. And they remembered how I was on the verge of about to have matches, like squash matches, and I'd stopped showing up. But then they also had heard I'd been going to Tony's shows,
Mm.
and they were not happy about it. But anyway, I was there. I set the ring up, and I was talking to Sonny mostly. Sonny was more of the understanding, business-minded one of it. Larry was the one that was pissed.
Mm.
Well, they did a training seminar before every one of those VFW hall shows. And I was in the seminar, and I showed out. I back bombed, I did flip bumps, I did the whole everything they asked, rolls, everything they asked, up and overs. I did all of it. They're like, oh, okay. Did you bring your stuff with you? I'm like, yep. Why? They're like, oh, you're gonna wrestle tonight. I was like, okay, yeah, against who? Bull Moose. Great. I already knew what that meant. I was getting jobbed out.
Mm-hmm.
So I got jobbed out to Bull Moose that night. All my friends came back and watched the show, bought tickets. Anyhow, to answer the machine thing, the machine came down. Well, I was there every Thursday. I was there for all those VFWL shows. Well, the machine and somebody else came down.
Yeah, I'm
Can't
sure.
remember what their name was. And they did the seminar, and they weren't terrible.
Mhm.
They made it through the seminar. And of course, Sonny goes, all right, you're wrestling Bull Moose. And Bull Moose proceeded to squash him.
Yeah.
You got anybody that came in, it was a test.
Mhm.
They just didn't tell you. It was a test to see if you stuck around. And of course, none of them would come back. I was the only one dumb enough to keep coming back, I guess. But all those guys that would come down, I want to say Red Tiger came down one time. Am I saying that right? Red Tiger?
Yeah, he must have, because if you remember that name, he definitely was down there.
Yeah, he came down one
Yeah.
time. A bunch of them would come down. It'd always be like one or two
We
of them.
tried.
They'd always do
We tried.
seminar, and they'd always get squashed by Bull Moose, and then they disappear.
So one thing I want to say about those guys that so we were, I was new to them as well, and we knew that you guys were downstate. New Wrestling Horizon was downstate doing things, and the conversation was always, hey, if we want to take this more serious and get more training and do seminars and do more in this
Right.
business, you have to go downstate and work with these guys down there. So some of them, like you just mentioned, Red Tiger, The Machine. There's got to be at least. I feel like Butch might have gone down there too.
Right?
Vice, yeah, Vice. I feel like because him and
I remember
Red
my
Tiger.
wrestling name.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
how they would
So
introduce
Vice,
themselves.
I forgot his name, his gimmick, right? Vice, but I know Butch.
Oh,
He's still
That's
around.
how I remember it, because that's how they would introduce themselves. Oh yeah, they'd introduce themselves as
Yeah, Red
their wrestling
Tiger,
names instead of their
Machine,
real names, and I'm
right.
like,
Right.
I'm
Well,
fair.
again, we're up here, and
I'm fair.
we don't have that exposure to those people in the
They
business.
didn't
So
know. They didn't know.
right, they didn't have a clue. So we're getting more into like, hey, if we want to do more with this, you have to make that move, and we appreciated that they took that chance to go down there and to try to work and to do more with it. And I don't think that they didn't feel they didn't pass the test. It's just that traveling is there for everybody. You know what I'm saying? It
It's
is
rough,
even if
yeah.
it's just 3 hours. It's
It's
3
rough.
hours down, spend the whole day down
Well,
there, then come back up. But it's
When
pretty
I
cool
would
that
come
they
up
went
to
down
you
there.
guys' Van Buren shows, which used to be a venue I ran until like back during Avalanche
Yeah, I
time, I
remember.
even told Vaughn and I think it was Cross at the time were running Avalanche, and I even told him take it because I'm never going to come back up here. It's just too much of a travel.
Yeah.
I would come up for their shows, but I was like, I would never run that venue again just because I ran it 3 times, and it was 3 hours up and 3 hours back for me, not alone other people.
Yeah.
Like I remember a show I got Robbie Ellis came up for one of my shows at that Van Buren building, and he lived in like Portland area. So that's probably like what, 5, 6
5,
hours
yeah,
one
like 5 or
way?
6, yeah. Oh,
That's
yeah.
6 hours, and he came up and went home. I would stay at the hotel down the street from the venue because I was like,
Yep.
I can't do this. I'm exhausted. No. But no, I'm happy y'all still using the venue. It's a good venue for wrestling. I just couldn't keep doing it.
Great crowd.
That was I to B time. I did 3 shows there, and the first 2 did great. The last one was a and I was
Mm,
like, nope, not coming back. Not worth the 3 hours up,
mm,
3 hours back, plus
yeah.
paying for all the hotels for everybody. They'd give
Sheesh.
me a rate. They'd give me a deal. I said, hey, every time I would try to go up there every 6 months, and they gave me a deal at that hotel. It's right next to that gas station,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and they would give me a rate for like there were 2 beds per room, and then I'd always get like 4 or 5 rooms for the boys that were traveling a long ways. Like I
Mm,
got Robbie E, and his carload came up, and he's like, yeah, just give us 1 room, and all our guys will stay in 1 room. Like so, they got a room with 2 beds. They stayed, and
yeah.
they're like, there's nothing to do up here. I'm like, nope. The only thing open late up there, man, is that bar across the street. So if you
Yep.
want anything, that's the only place you're going to get it.
And that
So,
bar is no longer open. That bar has been I think that whole building has been demolished
wow.
since you
See,
guys have
that
been
tells
gone.
how long ago that was. I couldn't tell you even what years those were in. It was when Robbie E was their TV champ or something. Man. I
Yeah,
don't remember
yeah.
that. But that was a while ago. Dang.
I remember that
Yeah,
with
the gas station closed early too. The gas station
oh,
like closed at 9.
yeah, so that gas station that was next to the hotel, that's also closed. It's also closed for business. Yeah, it's literally one gas station in that whole place now.
Is the hotel still open? Like,
The hotel's still there. No, the hotel's still there.
it's family owned and operated. I hope
Yeah,
so. They
yeah.
still, yeah. Hey,
Good question. It's is it open? Yes, it's still open.
well,
So
I mean, everything else is closed. So
so we go through all of that. We go through the NWH. We go through getting the $10. Here you go, buy yourself a burger and whatnot, kid. You're working for Tony Atlas.
yeah,
You end
yeah.
up going back to the West Side Horizons. Larry's upset. Sonny, you say, is more of a business minded. He's more accepting. You get squashed
Well,
by
I think,
Bull Moose.
yeah. Well, I think what the thing with Sonny was is he knew if he was going to do these weekly shows, and he saw all my friends coming to the shows.
Mm.
He's like, ah, well, if the local kid's drawing like 20 people at $10 a head, that's $200, and he's only giving me 10. You know, you know what I mean? Like he's making money. So he's like, oh
Yeah.
no, and you know, you need people. Not everybody can wrestle on a weekly basis
Mhm.
every single Thursday. And I was like, I will get it off from work, and I will make it work, and I did every Thursday. And then when they have a weekend, they would do a Thursday and a Friday, like you said, with the Thursday in the Fairfield. Fairfield was
Yeah.
always on a Friday. And then sometimes on a Saturday to go somewhere else. Like I think they went to up by you. Is it Oakfield? Oakfield is that up that direction, heading north. It's Oakfield,
It
right?
was Oakfield. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they would go to Oakfield on a Saturday, or they would do. I think we did Jeff's Catering one time, which was a brewer. We did random place. I think we did a show in Belfast one time.
Mm.
I kind of remember that because I remember I had to drive the ring truck. I had a license but no vehicle at the time. I had to drive the ring truck, and Primer had bashed me in the face with a steel chair, and I was concussed while having to drive the ring van home. And Sonny was worried shitless I was going to crash the van. He's like, he gave me extra money. He's like, here's money for gas, here's your pay, and here's extra because you're doing this for me. I'm like, you just want to make sure I don't crash the ring van.
I have a question. I have a question here because you keep mentioning Sonny here, and I just want to maybe you can help us clarify some things over the years that at least us up here up north are kind of talked about over the years. With every new generation, there's always like the villain, right? And Sonny for the very longest time was a villain for us up here. I can't tell you exactly what it was because nobody really had an answer as to why they had this dislike or disdain for Sonny. But if there's any reason why anybody would not like Sonny, did you know what that could be? Was it that he was just business and
Because he was the businessman, probably.
mm,
He was always the guy with funding the events because he would always put the money up. Mind you, Larry was back then we had to have wrestling licenses and
mm,
promoters licenses. If you remember, the athletic commission was still a thing back then.
okay,
And Larry was the promoter's license, and was also the guy that would handle all the wrestling licenses, managers licenses, referees licenses. While Sonny was the businessman, so he'd always be worried, like working on promoting the events
Mhm.
in XYZ towns. He'd be the one doing the footwork. I was very many a day. Me and Sonny in a car postering towns and talking to businesses because no one else would have the time off, and I'd be like, "Oh, I'll do it," because if we don't do it, no one's going to come to the show, and
Mhm.
we need fans to make this worthwhile. Otherwise, none of us are getting gas money to get home. Like, none of us were getting big money back then. It was like 10, 20, 30. It was
Yeah.
all based off
Yeah.
the gate. Like, oh, you want to wrestle? It's based off the gate. You want to wrestle? Come.
Yeah.
And anyway, and I think that's why people were mad at him because none of us were getting paid a lot. You weren't even getting gas money.
Mhm.
Luckily, I'd always either ride with Sonny or be driving the ring truck so that my gas was always covered. So I always got to keep my pay and use it for food. But some people,
Yeah.
you get $20 and that had to cover your gas and buy you some food at the end of the night to get home. And it was a shitty time,
Mhm.
but that's what it could be afforded. That's what you could afford, like unless we just didn't do shows. That's the thing. Like that's the thing that goes even to this modern day. Like I try to tell people, like I don't book WrestleMania when it comes to Ring Wars. I book 6 matches,
Mhm.
sometimes 7 if there's 2 short ones, but that's it. Because I can't have a WrestleMania sized locker room and then expect to have money to run the next show and the
Mm.
next show and the next. Like
Yeah.
you gotta get your money back to run the next show, or at least recycle your money to go forward to the next show. Like I don't care if I break even.
Mhm.
If I make money, cool. I recycle it back into the shows and do something cool with it. But as long as I break, I don't want to lose money. So as long as I break even, I can get to the next show. Next show, like obviously we're ahead of the game from last show,
Yeah.
but you know that's not always the case. So anyway, I think that's why Sonny was always looked at as the villain. He also, he tried to run everywhere. He didn't care if someone ran somewhere. Which in your guys' area, there's very few and far between venues. Like I think he would go to the Medway Middle School, which is
Mm.
close, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oak Field, I think we talked about.
Yeah.
Holton, I think he did a show in Holton one time.
Okay. Yeah. About an hour from
I
us. Yeah.
remember, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't like oh then he helped facilitate the shows at the Forum.
Mm. Right.
All
Okay.
those
Yeah.
wrestling shows that were
Yeah.
one because it started off as him. Him and Larry were doing the Forum shows, and then they gave it to Big Time,
Mhm. Mhm.
and then they stopped going back there.
Yeah. Okay.
They gave it to Big Time. So that's probably what it is. It's like once you get someone that's pissing in your backyard, do you really want to make friends with them? You know what I mean?
In 2000 and that's the funny thing about me is that I wish I could be consistent every year since 2006 with you guys down there and up here and have stories every year. But my stories are sporadic because I went down there and I've been up here for years and I've been down there for a couple of things and um so Sonny, we were in I can't remember what venue it is, but at the time the future legend Luke Robinson was the main event. And this is before NXT and Tough Enough and all that stuff. And me and my buddy were helping with the show. We helped set up. We were gonna be doing selling the merchandise for you guys at the show, and we're there before the show starts. Sonny comes up to us and says, "All right, that'll be whatever the ticket price was at the time. I'm gonna need the money for the tickets for you guys." And we were just like, "What the hell? Like we've been here. We did a seminar. We built the ring. We're doing your
I
merchandise, and we're still having to pay you. We paid them, but we were just like." What the hell is that about? Like we're helping you sell
I
merchandise.
vaguely remember this show because I think I wrestled Frankie Parker, who was later uh, Sheik Frankie Ali.
Oh yeah.
His
Okay.
real name is
She.
Joel. His real name is Joel.
Yeah, I know him. I
And
remember him.
anyway, I was Too Fit Eric Atlas, which was a recycled gimmick from a Canadian wrestler
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
Sonny and Larry made me do it. And I was a fat fitness consultant.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I come out doing the jumping jacks and the push-ups and let's get
I
physical by
remember.
Olivia Newton-John.
I
Yeah,
remember.
and I wrestled on that show. I remember I did a top rope splash to Frankie Ali for the finish, and everybody was like, "Oh!" Like no expect it. And then they yelled at me for doing the top rope splash because I'm a heel. They're like, "You should have went over with that. You should have went over with something dirty." I'm like, mind you, Frankie Parker was short little guy.
Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a little chunky. He's a little chunky, but he's a short little guy. And when you're normally a referee, I'm like, so you don't want me to destroy the referee? Because he's normally a referee, not a wrestler. And they understood where I was coming from, but I also like I think they were just pissed I did a top rope splash because Sonny used to do a top rope splash.
Mm.
So I think that's really what it was.
That's definitely what it was.
Probably, yeah. And I got some, I got, I mean, I was like, I got some hang time, and I was floating with mine. It wasn't
Mm.
like I was falling. I was floating.
Nice.
And I remember I landed because Joel was so scared. He's like, "Oh shit, oh
Mm.
shit, oh, that's a big, it's like a 747 landing on you." And I
Mm.
landed. And
I
he goes,
believe it.
"Oh, that was nice." He goes, "Oh, that was so nice." I'm like, "You're welcome." Tell that to my knees in my hands.
No
Like that's
doubt.
not nice. My knees in my hands, but I remember. And then everybody was complimenting me on the splash, and they were giving me shit. So that's how I remember. But I remember y'all were helping. It was some random venue. It was nice though. I can't remember what the venue was, but I remember it.
Mm.
Like I can't dates and times. I can remember the weirdest things, man. But
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
can't remember like where it was. I know it was in your guy in Worcester County because I remember it was at Hall.
Oh.
It was a Hall up that way. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, we're gonna have to find this hall.
I don't know where it is, man.
We're gonna have to find this
I will
hall.
tell you venues that I remember here. Everybody picks my brain for venues,
Mm.
and because I ran for so long and I've utilized so many. Up your way, and they only run that one festival. Like I forget what it like the Island Falls Municipal Gym. There's that.
Yep.
There is a venue
Yep.
right off the interstate in Oakfield,
Mm.
but the reason why they stopped having wrestling there is New Wrestling Horizons damaged the venue.
Mm.
I believe it was Osiris broke the basketball hoop in the gym.
It's always the basketball hoop. I swear to God, it's always the basketball hoop.
It has to do with always something in the basketball hoop or the rim or
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
backboard. He broke the rim. On top of that, it cracked the board. The
Mm.
actual so like both would have had to been replaced. It's not like, oh, we can just replace the backboard or oh, we can just replace the rim. No, you got to replace both because he hung off of it and broke it.
Ah.
Yeah, no good.
I blame the internet darlings
I
of
think
that
Red
time.
Tiger was on that show. I think Red Tiger was
I
on
think
that show.
so. I think so. Yeah. It just all sounds familiar. I think so.
Yeah. See, I'm trying to remember stuff from up your way, but
Yeah,
it was a long time ago.
it's all coming back. And you just mentioned that we were talking to you about venues because you were running for so long. We haven't even gotten to uh, um, independent wrestling entertainment. How like was that your thing, or did you get that from someone else? No, okay, so it was your thing. How did that become like? How did the IWE become a thing for you down there?
Well, what it was remember those forum shows we were talking about with New Wrestling Horizons?
Uh-huh.
Well, I remember Sonny doing and Larry doing those shows and they were being a big success. And then they would go back. We did a show like I think it was after that, like the following week in like Milo, Maine. So you had this like packed house in the Prescott Forum, which was nuts.
Mm.
I wrestled. Then I was Jiving Jimmy and I wrestled Larry. I think in a tables match. Anyway, we were next week. We're in Milo, Maine, in some rinky-dink small venue. It was great for wrestling. The problem is you had to bring the ring up the stairs. It was in Milo in like a town hall.
Oh
You had to
no.
bring the ring up the stairs, which is
Mm.
pain in the ass. But we
Mm.
drew like 20, 30 people, and Sonny got pissed. He's like, how do we go from having a perfectly awesome show at the Forum to drawing 20, 30 people in Milo? I'm like, it's because you're in Milo, man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm like, you're not trying to be rude. And he's like, well, I'm done trying to recoup money from wrestling. I'm like, and I was honest with him. I was like, wrestling's a hobby. You don't make money in it unless you get signed somewhere. You know, back then going viral wasn't the thing. You just made the
Mm.
towns, got the reps in, and hoped someone saw you, and it got to the right people. You know. Anyway, he was burnt out and was taking time off from running shows. And I said, well, you mind if I run a show in my home area? He's like, no, go right ahead. I said, okay. Can I use Dino's? He had stopped using Dino's, but it was close to me. It was like 20 minutes away from where I lived. He's like, yeah, go ahead. I don't care. I'm not going to run. I was like, can I use the license and all that? He's like, you have to talk to Larry about that, but I can't see why not. So I talked to Larry. Larry was cool with it. Sonny was cool with it. And I was obviously I was going to book both of them, you know what I mean? Like, so I did all the work. It was a new wrestling. It was back then they weren't New Wrestling Horizons. They were NAWA. They had changed the name, but still the same company. They just changed the name. and I used their license, and I did this show, and we ended up drawing like 130 something people at Dino's. It was packed. It was good. And of course, the end of the night came after the show, and I did everybody's payouts because Sonny told me what everybody gets paid. And Sonny had his hand out, and he goes, "Percentage." I'm like, "Huh?" He goes, "Percentage. You use the ring. You use use the promoter's license. Da 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 da." And I was like, "Okay, what do you want?" So I paid him his percentage, and he's like, "All right, and you also got to pay this amount to the athletic commission, which is 10% of your gate."
Mm.
So I paid that,
That's that business
and I was like,
side right there.
and I'm like, okay, now I see why he doesn't want to run shows. Because you always had to pay 10% of your gate to the athletic commission, and they were also there. Not
Mm.
just the one commissioner, but there was three of them there because no one had run shows in like a while, and they were just. I think they wanted to make sure they got their money and make sure everybody had licenses. Which Larry still took care of that for me. Thankfully, he was there doing everybody's licenses and stuff, and everything was kosher. Anyway, um, after the show was over, I looked at Sonny and goes, because he owned the ring, and that was the little one that fit in the van. And I was like, "Are you all done running still?" He's like, "Yeah, I had no interest in running shows." He's like, "I'll still wrestle for you if you want me to, but I don't really want to run." I said, "Well, we talked about it, and I talked about buying the ring off him." And I literally gave him what money I had left, even like float, everything. I gave him one as the down payment on the ring that night. And every show, I ran the show every there in Dino's every other month. I worked it out with the owners, and we are still NAWA at the time, but I already in my brain knew where I was going. IW was a plan. This is the beginning of 2008. I was already heading in that direction of changing the company.
Is what you're mentioning now? Is this NWA right now? You mentioned that you're talking about, or is this
Yeah, it's NAWA. It's still
NAWA? Okay.
I had to because it was Larry's license.
Oh, okay. Right.
And
Right. Right.
so, but I was slowly changing it then from the first show. I was slowly changing
Mhm.
IDB, and only a couple of people knew about it. And we were slowly getting it there. I was getting a website built. I was establishing a totally different roster than what Sonny and Larry would use. So I was getting people to come down from Canada, people to come up from Massachusetts. Like I got Jay Gillette come up,
Mm.
and he brought Donnie Rotten and Iron Eagle. I was getting different people that were not up right up. Like I was like, literally, I was thinking to myself to differentiate myself. I gotta get different people.
Mm.
Otherwise, it's the same shit over and over again. There's only so many times you can watch me wrestle Frankie Ali, right? So, um, and the best part was Scotty Vegas and Johnny Primer were like my other two local guys, and they knew I was trying to build something different than what Larry and Sonny had built. And so they were referring me their friends from other promotions that I should book. Hey, book this guy from NCW. Hey, book this guy from Slam All Star Wrestling. I'm like, oh, big. I'm like, oh, cool. They're different people that haven't been up here. Let's just give it a try. And I slowly went through more and more after another show. Well, as the year came to an end in 2008, the Athletic Commission was ceasing to exist. So I didn't need Larry's license anymore. So I said, start of the first show of the new year, we're going to be IWB. That was my goal. I already had a logo made, which Marion Lawless made it. Already had shirts planned. I had merchandise planned. I had everything planned. So first show of the new year in 2009, we were IWE. Boom. Didn't miss a beat. It was our anniversary. We brought Honky Tonk Man up for it. And Spike Dudley, I believe. Brought two names in for the show. Because it's like a 1 year anniversary, but also we're starting something fresh. Let's get some eyes on us. We had like a good 200 people in Dino's. It was packed. And Sonny comes up to me after the show and goes, has his hand out. Well, the show at the end of that last year in 2008, I had paid off the ring. So Sonny I almost paid it off. I had like one last little bit of payment left. So then the show came. I said, how much? I owe you this much, right? He goes, yep. I said, okay. Here's your wrestling pay. Here's what I owe you. We're square. He goes, okay. Do I get a percentage of the gate for using all of his stuff? I said, well, I own the ring, so why would I give you a percentage for that? He goes, okay, well, what about the athletic commission? I'm like, well, they're done now, right? Larry told me they're done at the end of the year. This is a new year. Why would I pay for that? He goes, oh, yeah. Okay. He's like, all right. And he left.
Mm-hmm.
And I could tell, like, he was perturbed
Mm-hmm.
because I had paid him off and I still paid him to work that night, but I didn't need him anymore.
Mm.
The equipment was mine. And I was leaving the ring there. I left the ring there at Cityside because the owners let me store it because they were making bank
Mm.
off food and booze sales every sham show. Because I was packing them in there, 150, 200 people. Nuts. And so I would leave the ring there, leave everything there, my sound equipment. It's free storage out back, plenty of room.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when IWE started taking off. We started drawing big houses at Cityside. I only had the one venue. We built it up, but then I would start trimming the fat. I'd start getting rid of people I didn't like that I only had there to appease Sonny and Larry, which I get it. I had to use their license and I had to use certain people, but like I also wanted a different direction for the company, and it was a lot of younger guys. The Julian Youngs, the Tituses, the Sidewinders, the different guys I would bring down. A young Wesley Pipes came down, who was Jonathan Rouge.
Wesley.
He was Jonathan Rouge.
Pipes. How often were you running at Dino's? Was it Dino's you said?
Well, yep, Dino's Pizza. They eventually turned into Cityside Restaurant by the time they were Dino's. They started Dino's. I was doing every other month. But as soon as we changed to IWE, I moved it to monthly.
I knew it. I was just talking to somebody.
Man.
I was talking. I had a podcast the other day, and I was like, I was doing IWE. They were doing monthly. I couldn't make it every month, so I could make it like every 3 months. I could go down there. So I knew you guys were down monthly. So yeah. I'm glad you said that. So yeah.
Well, I did every other month originally because I didn't want to keep paying the athletic commission. Plus, everybody still had to have wrestler's license, manager's license, referee's license, and I was using Larry's promoter's license, so I luckily didn't have to pay that, but we still had to pay all the licensing fees and then the percentage every show. So I was like, yeah, and then once they said they were done, I already had put the word out. We're running monthly starting January. Like, why? Because they're all done and I can get away with it. So as of the December show, at the end of 2008, I had to announce the anniversary show in 2009. And obviously, Honky Tonk Man and Spike Dudley, word got out, it was packed. Anyway, so we did monthlies after that. And we were drawing big houses, but we only had that one venue. Eventually, word caught around, we started getting other venues. Fairfield, the venue you went to that one time, we didn't have that originally. That was a Larry and Sonny deal. And I remember I was bringing up Spike Dudley for a one-shot to Brewer. And I said, hey, he's going to be in Brewer. Do you want to run Fairfield on a Friday? And we do a weekend out of it. And they were like, they were all about it. And then as the show got closer, they backed out. And I said, well, do you already have the deposit and everything paid for them? Like, the deposit's paid on the venue already. And it's already booked. They haven't canceled it yet. And I said, well, let me run it. And I had like a couple weeks to advertise it. So within like 2 to 3 weeks, I hit the town running, put flyers out, went to different events and handed out little flyers, just trying to get people to come. And we went from a show that was almost canceled by them to me packing like 150 people in Fairfield. And they were booked for the show. And I remember they were kind of like not happy about it, but they were also happy that there was people there so that they all could be paid. Crappy thing about that show was that someone stole our money box.
Man.
Yeah. The irony.
Wow. Yeah.
Neil from MPW was there, and he was there the day that the money got stolen. Luckily, we had Brewer the next day, so I was able to make enough to pay Spike everybody get their money from both shows, and I just made nothing that weekend because someone stole the money. But that was the time. That's when I started having a lock box, and certain people had to always watch the box at all times. It's the thing. You live and you learn.
Yeah.
But just the irony that the money box went missing, and the first show I ever do in Fairfield, and it was a packed show.
So
weird.
So we talk about 2009. We have IWE.
That's
from 2009 till when?
I ran it for 9 years.
Mm.
I want to say it was 2017. That was a lot. Hold on, I got the. Give me 2 seconds. I'll
Yeah,
check in the
yeah.
other room. I have the poster of the last event that I ran on my wall.
Poster of the last event. I love it.
No,
Oh,
you can't look at
I see all those posters on the wall. Look at those posters on the wall.
it.
We can
Hold
see
on.
them.
I can take you with me. Hold on.
Oh, he's
I will
taking us
tell
on a
you see
tour.
this way.
This is an exclusive, right? Look at this. Let's go.
You're gonna see on
This is
this
Jaws
wall.
poster. Go ahead, keep talking.
This is how I remember. This is how I remember when the last show I ran for IW was. It was a 9-year anniversary show, and here it is. And where you? I need you to tell me if you can see it because I can't turn the camera and have you see it. It's on my wall.
Sorry. No, I see you.
Okay, you ready? I'm gonna turn it.
Yeah, turn it.
It's gonna have a giant 9 on it. Can you see it?
Wow. Yeah, I see a 9-year anniversary event, Saturday, January 14th, 2017, Cityside Restaurant Brewer.
That is the last.
Wow.
That was the last event that I was running as of IWE before I sold it. I wasn't financially involved in that show, but I helped book it up to that point, and that was the last day I helped with the booking. And after that, I was not involved in the booking or the financials of the company anymore. That was my last day that I officially helped.
Wow.
So I obviously got the rights back later on and did the reunion show recently, but it's not ever coming back. It was just a way for the fans to say goodbye. Uh-oh.
That's one thing that I was kind of wondering about is so it was the last show. You sold it.
I sold it. Yeah, what ended up happening was I ran it for 9 years. We had 2 different separate runs of TV on, and I don't know if you remember the TV show.
Yeah.
Saturdays at noon on Fox 22. I think it reached certain areas up your guys' way, but it depended on what cable provider you had and what channel, but it still reached Saturdays at noon. And which was helpful for us because whenever we came up to your area, we would try to advertise those events on the TV show. Well, let me fix this. All right. So I back in 2017, when I sold the company, I obviously once the talks for me selling it had started happening, we were still on TV at the time. I was still editing the TV show myself. It was a lot of work.
You were doing commentating. I remember that you were all over the
As a commentary, and I was doing the editing myself. And I kept doing it all through the rest of that year. But when the sale officially went through, I sold it to John the Bomb Breyer, and he didn't think it was cost effective to do the TV anymore. And I said, "Well, I've been doing it for you for free, so all you owe is this TV station money. That's up to you. I mean, I can't make you if you don't want to do it." And he said, "No, I don't think it's worth it." I said, "Okay." I said, "Also, at that same time, the domain name for the website was up, which we had iWrestlingE.com for like the whole 9 years." And I was like, "It's $60. It's good for 3 years," which is cheap back then. It was cheap. It's a lot different now for domain names. And he's like, "Do we need it? Can we use just the base minimum of the website?" I was like, "I've had that web address for 9 years. People know where to buy the tickets from that web address. People know where to find the events and merchandise from that web address. So as soon as you get rid of it and you default on the payment, it goes up for sale and someone's going to buy it because all the traffic that would go to that website." "No, we don't need it." I'm like, "You don't want to pay $60? "Nope." "Okay." So I had finished at the time I was editing this episode of TV, so I finished it and I did drop it off, which he yelled at me for. And I said, "Well, I'd already edited it and it was free." So he's like, "Well, I'm going to tell them no more after that one, and we're done." I think he owed them a bunch of money from not paying the TV show payments. You got to pay to be on TV. It's not free. Unless they reach out to you to fill time slots, it's not free. You have to pay.
Are you talking about like the TV, like the shows you had on the
TV shows
that we were seeing up here? Oh, on
Fox.
Saturday. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we had to pay for those.
Okay.
Mind you, it wasn't too bad, but you had to pay for those. And what I used to do is I'd get sponsors to help me pay for those. So this way there was no cost. And if I did the editing, there was no cost to me. Well, when I sold him the company, I said, look, I'll keep doing the editing for now until you figure it out. And he didn't want to do any of it. He didn't want to pay the TV, didn't want to pay the domain costs, didn't want to do any of that. I said, all right. Mind you, this is the end of that 2016, and I'm still helping book. I'm still financially invested for the rest of the year. And we planned it so that at the beginning of the year, it'd be on him. Well, the January came around. At this point, I still even helped put flyers up, still helped book the talent, and everybody knew this was the last one for me. So I helped book the card, and at this point, I'd stopped editing the TV shows because he told me he didn't want to do it anymore, nor did he want to pay it. The domain name had lapsed, so we're using just the base website name, which is terrible. It was like iwrestling.webs.com. It was just weird.
Oh no, okay. Yeah.
And of course, attendance at this point had already started to drop because they started changing everything. There's no TV show. He didn't bring a name in. It's the anniversary. Every year I always brought in for the anniversary a big name. He didn't bring a name in, and I get it. He was trying to save money because he had to pay monthly payments to me. He paid a down payment when he bought the company, but he was paying payments to me. And on top of that, he's got all these different bills coming in that he's got to pay from the company. TV show, things like that. We do the show. Show's over. When I made the deal to sell the company, it was for $10,000. Mind you, I'll tell you what it included. $10,000 when I sold the company included the van, which housed the ring, because the ring just assembled in such small pieces that the ring would fit in a van, a cargo van, an Ford Econoline van. So you got the van.
I remember the van.
The ring. Yep, you got the van. You got the ring. You got the sound equipment. You got the entranceway. You got 2 video cameras. You got all the spare parts, the tools. You got backup stuff. Like I gave him spare tires for the van. I had spare padding. I had 2 sets of padding. Spare tire for the van. The belts, the laptop for the sound equipment, the cameras, tripods, lights, entrance lights, the strobes and all that. Yeah.
Wow.
The lighting trusses, the logos, the banners, 2 canvases, he got everything.
Holy smokes.
The only thing I took was some personal stuff.
Mhm.
I even left him all the leftover merchandise because I was still producing the merchandise at the time up until that event, and I left him with the rest of it. I just took some stuff for me for personal. He had even the merchandise. He had everything. The van had a brand new inspection sticker on it. Fully registered and fully insured for the rest of that year with a brand new inspection sticker. Like he didn't have to pay for shit.
That's
like everything was
done. That's a deal.
I was $10,000. I was like, yeah. He got my full library of hard drives. 9 years of I to B footage. The hard drives alone. I mean, mind you, it's a different format back then, but 9 years of footage. Also, he got my whole bombardment of like notebooks that had all the venues, wrestlers, pays, and phone numbers and contacts. And remember, this is before social media was a huge thing. He had like maybe Facebook and maybe MySpace back then.
Maybe, yeah.
That's it. And so he had the full books of like what venues he could contact and how much they cost. Rental things. So if he needed extra shares, it was like my costs, not his costs, and my costs. Because I used to get a lot of discounts from a lot of places because I rented there all the time, or people trusted me and they knew me. Always pay the bill. All that. He also got a back lot of folding chairs because at one point Cityside didn't have enough chairs. So I had I think at the end I started with 100, but by the end of it I had like 60 folding chairs. That too, like. Everything. He got everything. Like just stuff that I wanted personally, I took with me. He got everything else. And $10,000. He gave me 2,000 down. He gave me 2,000 down, and the deal was he would make $500 payments every month, but he didn't have to pay me until after the wrestling weekend was over. So theoretically, he could have just taken the money out of the wrestling weekends, and I wouldn't have cared. So he was doing Fairfield on Friday, Brewer on a Saturday. And I made it just like a car payment. Like, what happens when you default on 3 car payments? They take your shit back.
Come and get it.
Yeah. So I said, okay, you get 3 passes. 3, just like a car, because he used to work at a car dealership 3 times. So if you default on 3 payments, I get the company back. Okay. So we wrote it up. I wrote up the paperwork. I didn't even type it. I wrote it all up on paper, and he signed it. And I made copies. He's got his copies. I got mine. He didn't have to start paying until that January, after I was all done. So gave me the $2,000 down. We get into that January show. End of the weekend comes. Couldn't make the payment. I said, okay, that's one. No big deal. February came. He was going to default on another payment, but he didn't. So his wife at the time, or was soon to be wife, I don't know if they were married yet or not. She wrote me a check, so he didn't default on the payment. Well, then March came, and he told me, can I have until Monday? I said, yeah, I think I could wait an extra day for you to pay me. Why? He's like, I don't have the cash. I need to get it. I was like, I used to spend all my cash from the show on paying everybody. I don't have it. I said, okay. Well, Monday he calls me, checks, I left you a check at Cityside. Go pick it up. I said, okay, cool. I went and picked it up. On the check, it said Sonny Roselli's name. Sonny's his real name. I'm not gonna put his real name on here.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So I wonder what that was about. But I cashed check cash. I didn't care. I was like, whatever. I got my money. I was getting $500 payments every month. You know, I didn't give a shit. Well, come to find out, Sonny bought in, and he was going to help co-promote the I to B shows and keep them running between Fairfield and Brewer. And so after every Brewer show, Sonny himself, because him and I would chat, never had any issues. He'd buy me a beer and we'd sit there in the bar afterward, and he'd give me the money and we'd chat about the shows because I was still working for them at the time. Eventually, I stopped working for them when Hobo Joe came on board as like a storyline booker. And he had some, I guess at the time, we don't now, but at the time he had some heat with me because I told him not to come to events anymore. I was doing a storyline with him, and he was like he was wearing a mask and he was jumping like students of the IW's training school on purpose. And we were doing this big angle, and he was showing up like super late. Like when the doors are already open and the show is about to start, super late. I said, stop doing that. And he couldn't. So he just couldn't get someone like a babysitter or something. I said, then you can't be doing this angle. Then don't bother coming. And I gave it to somebody else. It was a dude under a mask. So I just got someone the same build to do it, which happened to be Johnny Primer. So the irony that Hobo Joe would later become Joseph Primer is the irony.
Yep. Full circle.
Irony. Anyway, yeah, it's just a cycle. Anyway, so Hobo would come on board as the booker, and he wasn't comfortable with me being there. And I think Bomb was also not comfortable being there because they were giving me money every month at the end of the weekend. He was tired of doing that and then paying me to also wrestle. So I was like, all right, well, I'll finish. We had a big meeting at the bowling alley in Newport, Maine. I remember because they were adamant on they didn't want to even have me on to finish the weekend out. And I said, well, we have storylines booked. I'm supposed to wrestle Derek Shorey and put him over. And I was like, I'll still put him over. Also around that same time, Damian Maine passed away. I don't know if you've heard of him. He used to be a ring announcer.
Okay, yeah.
He was IW's first ever ring announcer. He had passed away, and they were doing like a tournament for him in Fairfield. And I said, I'd like to still be a part of the tournament since I was the one that found out he passed and had told everybody and started the wheel going on the tournament. And they're like, yeah. So they did. And that was my last weekend when I worked with him. And literally I would have to. So after I finished that weekend, they paid me. And they paid me the payments, but I could tell like they were just. Sonny was still being the businessman, was still had no problem giving the money, would talk to me. I think it was the Bomb and Hobo issues that really kind of were the ones that are like they didn't want me there. So for a while, that's when the We Stand with Eric thing happened, where people were pissed that I wasn't even on the show. It's like for the local guy, the big local guy is not on the shows, but you have it's like no offense. Roadblock and Tommy Lane on the show, but you can't find a spot for the big local guy that people want to pay to see. I mean, I get it. They're already paying me a payment every month on top of my work pay. I get it. It's
so I was going to ask you, like, you get that though, right? Paying you for the ring and all that good stuff, and then also paying you to work. I would have felt the same way. I held
no grudge against it. I held no grudge against it at all. and I understood that. But also, you can't go putting talent on the show that draw you nothing. That like you're paying them. I get it, you're paying them like $10 to be there, but they're not drawing you anything, and maybe are hurting your product. But you don't want to put the big local guy on your show that's going to help build your product up and keep your fans
Right.
happy and put butts in the seats. So it is
That's
what it
true.
is. I made a shirt out of it, that We Stand with Eric shirts, and made money on it. I'm great at turning a negative into a positive. So I'm into 2 runs of those shirts thanks to those guys,
Man.
because people were buying them from me. They would message. I put them online. People would start messaging me. I'd mail them out to them, or they'd go to a different show. I remember coming up for an Avalanche show and selling them like 20 of them. So I was like, I want one. Screw those guys.
So you were
Turn
able
negative into a
to
positive.
build a relationship with the fans that were going to these shows, and that was this connection between the new owners of IWE and the same crowd of IWE,
Yeah, I
right?
remember
Because you
the
had a
last.
connection.
Oh yeah, I had a connection with the crowd because everybody knew who I was. It's my
Mm,
area. And
mm,
I remember the night I put over Derek. Me and him were buddies. I love him to death.
mm,
And I remember Derek telling me in confidential that, hey, I got to talk to you about something. I go, what? He goes, they want me to shoot on you. I'm like, what do you, and mind you, Derek Shore's an MMA fighter.
Yeah, yeah, that shattered Derek Shorey,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. He also knew I did amateur wrestling and I did Kempo. So he's like, I'm not,
And
he
you're
also
also
knew I
over
was like,
6 feet
I'm,
tall
I'm
and 300 pounds.
yeah, I'm 6 foot tall. And I'm at the time like 350.
Yeah.
I'm not, I'm not doing that with you. And I actually kind of want to have a match. They said they wanted a 6 minute, like a shoot match. Is what they wanted. They wanted him to shoot on me, and I'm like, well, do we want to listen to them, or do we want to do what we want to do? He's like, I think we should do what we want to do. I said, all right, let's go 10 minutes, bell to bell, and do nothing of what they wanted, because they're going to can me anyway. Just blame
Yeah.
me for it. If they give you shit, just blame me for it. He goes, okay. So we go out there. I even put him over by submission. So if they said, that's not what we expected, I'm like, I tapped out. What are you? You said you wanted him to have like a shoot match with me. He won.
It's pretty smart. Yeah.
He estimated that's pretty shoot for me if I'm tapping out. Anyway, so we did the match, and then Bomb got in the ring and quote unquote fired me. Had nothing for me, and the fans chanted bullshit. Like I remember Mark Godfrey's at ringside. He's like, holy shit. He's like, they're pissed. He's like, yeah, and I'm the heel at this time. I'm the heel. Because Mark Godfrey was doing Mr. Marcus. He would have a towel and a tray with my wine on it. And I was like, I always thought I was better than everybody else.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we did the whole deal. And mind you, I'm the heel. And they're chanting bullshit. Bullshit. Like fans pissed. And I could tell Bomb's like he's frustrated now because he's like, people are mad. I'm like, this is how you really want to play it. Like I got him. He said he had to say what he had to say. He actually gave me the mic and let me retort. And I said, yeah, the fans right. This is bullshit. And then they got louder. I went out back. I changed. And I grabbed my stuff and I went in the bar and I waited. This is a city side at a bar called Jesters, which I DJ'd at every weekend. And I waited in there. And a lot of the boys that had saw that happen were talking to me in the bar about it. Like, the fans are pissed. I'm like, yeah, well, and in my promo, I even said, you have spots for people like the Handsome Maynor and Roadblock and Tommy Lane. Mind you, don't have a problem with them personally, but no one gives a damn. No one wants to pay a ticket to see them wrestle. I said, but guys like me, they do. But you have a spot for them, but don't have a spot for me. I think there's a problem there that you probably should fix. And that was how I ended the promo when we did in ring. And then that's when I said, also, these fans are right. This is bullshit. And that's how I ended the promo. But fast forward, they did eventually bring me back at the behest of Adam Ricker.
Before we go back to being brought back, when you were given the mic, when the crowd was cheering bullshit, when you said what you said, were you meaning what you said? Because the crowd is watching this, probably thinking like it's another angle, another story. But you yourself on the mic.
The biggest thing is like they were booking everybody and their uncle that they could that were local and paying them very cheaply because they were still paying me. I understood that. And I understand, like, $500, like, So some people may not be a lot of money, but you're taking out of it 2 shows. You got to have 250 from Fairfield, 250 for Brewer, and if one doesn't make it, you got to hope to make it from both. So I get it. I also understood that like they're getting pissed off with me because I was also getting hard to work with, which I will openly admit I was super hard to work with at that time because they were having me wrestle people that I didn't want to wrestle. And like some of them I did. Like I remember Big Raph. Sonny was supposed to be his first match ever. It ended up being me. And I didn't really want to do it. And I said, okay, well, let's make the best of it. This is the hometown kid in Fairfield. Raph is from Fairfield. His family, his friends. He had like 50 people there to see him. And I gave him a good match. But I wanted to wrestle the competitive people.
Yeah.
I didn't want to wrestle the greenhorns. And I was being an asshole at the time because I was ready. I was competing at a higher level, and I wanted to keep my level up rather than bring it down and carry people. I've always had to be the guy. Like at the time, I was super frustrated because I was always the guy that had to carry people. No matter who you are, I will always pull a good match out of you. That was the rep I got, which is great. But I also wanted to compete at a level to show people I could. Yeah. Like I remember a conversation with John the Bomb where he didn't believe I could, and then saw it, and he's like, I am speechless. Like he couldn't believe I could do some of the things I could do. I'm like, I could do them. You guys never let me to because you always had me wrestle the handsome Maynard. Mr. Main Event Man, which was Tommy Lane under a mask, Roadblock, Mark Mahoney, Big Raph, who at the time was still very green, was Prince Raphael. Yeah. I remember they wanted me to wrestle Prince Raphael. This is one of the Brewer shows before I wrestled Shatterproof. And they want me to put him over. I said, fuck no. I said, I'll just fucking leave. Like, what do you mean? You want me to lose in Brewer to Prince Raphael? No storyline, no build up, no nothing.
Why? Right. But why?
Why? I said, fuck yourself. Nope. I said, nope. They let me go over. And it wasn't Raph's fault. And Raph was like, I'll do whatever you want, Eric. Raph was great. Yeah. Raph respected me. He watched me as a kid, watched me wrestle, and I put him over huge in the match. Like I went over in his first match ever, but I made him look great. Like he was throwing me around, like giving me hip tosses, and he was tossing me around. It was impressive. And I made him look great, and he always respected that to this very day. He still does. I let him stay at my house when he would do show. Like if he didn't have a ride, like you'll ride back with me. Stay at my couch. I'll feed you. He always respected all that. Anyway, still loves my food to this day. Anyway,
I'll let him know.
But the point being, he didn't take an issue when I said I'm not fucking doing it. He understood. He's like, I shouldn't be beating you. I said, I know they're doing it out of spite. They're doing it out of spite. So I knew the writing was on the wall, and I had to leave. I didn't fight it. I put over Derek Story, which I love him because he had put me over earlier. So this is me giving it back. And the night before in that tournament for Damian Main, I lost in the first round. I got it. I understood. So when they brought me back in, it was months down the line. The whole We Stand With Eric thing lasted for a bunch of months on like a separate from them. Like I said, I sold 2 runs of that shirt. That's over 70 shirts I sold off that angle just through internet and going to other shows and taking bookings still. Sold them all because everybody was supporting me against them. And finally, Adam Ricker was the one like, you guys need to stop with the petty bullshit. Because they literally still had to see me every month to give me the payment. I would literally go to the show and sit in the bar and wait for them to come pay me. Because I didn't want to go out there, make a scene. Because everybody, oh, Eric's here. No, I'll just sit in the bar. If you want to come talk to me, they can talk to me here. Which also got people to buy me drinks at the time, which was kind of nice. And then Sonny would always be the one to come pay me. And me and him would chat for a few minutes. Sonny and I always had good rapport, and it was business. I never took it personally. I even said I was like, I don't take it personally. He was also the big proponent of with Ricker to bring me back in because he knew that I would put butts in the seats. But he's like, we just got to talk about pay because I was getting a lot of pay back then. And he's like, we got to bring your pay down so it's more cost effective if you want to work here. And I said, I understand. You're still paying me monthly payments. You got to make it cost effective so you guys aren't paying out the ass a bunch of money to me. I got it. The big thing was they were bringing Brian Malonis who was in Ring of Honor at the time in for a show, and they had nobody to work them. that could compete at his level. And Ricker was like, Eric could do it. That's the match you should bring him back on. It'll be huge. They're two big fucking dudes. It will be great. It'll work. And it did. It drew. It was a pretty good show. We actually accidentally broke the ring. Because we're told,
Yeah.
you were probably looking at
Yeah.
almost 1,000 pounds of weight in that ring between me and him and the referee. Over 1,000 pounds between me, him, and the ref. Not counting the fact of us moving around and bumping. And I remember something busted in it, and we had to take the match home early. We got maybe 6 minutes in instead of the 10 we were planning.
Oh man. Oh. So
yeah, we wanted to run it back. We never got it, but
right,
it was super.
Right. So let's fast forward a little bit, because now recently we're seeing that the IWE Facebook page is back and
Being
active
used.
again, is being used. We have that you are now back in control of IWE, right? But you have everything back, but you're not gonna run with that. I know you have the Ring Wars thing going on, which, by the way, I thought Ring Wars was gonna be like a once a year kind of big thing to bring the promotions together. I know you do multiple shows in a year, but why not bring that IWE back, since it has such a huge history in Maine, back on the scene for Maine?
Well, I'll answer all 2 to 3 of those questions at the same time. So when IWE closed, it closed when the COVID thing happened. They had a show plan. COVID happened. They never had another show after that. Cause a lot of people didn't have shows because COVID was a thing. You couldn't have live events. Well, as there was no live events happening, the three person ownership booking situation started to fall apart. Also, the venue in Brewer, because of COVID, could not have events. On top of that, the venue in Brewer closed. Cityside closed. And then later, when all the COVID stuff was open, the place that bought it and reopened it was Mad Cats, and they had no interest in having wrestling in there because they remodeled that event room. So IWE was dead in the water. They couldn't run Fairfield anymore because of an insurance issue. I believe they damaged a venue at one point and they couldn't go back. I'm sure one of the other promoters probably could have finagled it and rented it and whatever, but now, to get to the point originally now, I'm the only one that can run shows in Fairfield because so many wrestling companies have gone in there and damaged the building. One of them is not his fault. Neil, Aiden Andrews, who runs MPW, after a show was over, someone put feces all over the walls. Someone took shit and rubbed it all over the walls in one of the bathrooms. And they didn't catch it. And this was after they'd already locked up, cleaned the whole nine. So he thinks someone did it on purpose. Other companies that have run in there have damaged chairs, walls, toilets, which is not their fault. That's customer use. So someone
it happens, right?
So literally, the lady, when I went to rent it, had originally told me no. But someone higher up saw me there and called me when I was leaving and was like, "This is Eric Johnson. Used to run here all the time, right? They used to run the Fairfield Community Center for like years. Had the show on Fox, IWE, and I was like, yes, same one. Like, you're running shows again? I was like, well, I was hoping to, but you guys told me no. We're like, because it's you, we're telling you yes. However, you do have to have insurance now. And I said, okay, that's not a problem. I get it handled. He said, but you're the only one that's going to be able to have wrestling in here anymore because every wrestling group has kind of ruined the venue for the most part. So you're the only one that can run here. So, but you have to have insurance, and our rates are going up XYZ end of the year or whatever. I said, okay. So I booked a couple dates. During that time I booked dates, I had booked them for Ring Wars. I had run into John the Bomb at a Phoenix Pro show in Bangor because he always gets booked for them because he's friends with Teddy. They're longtime tag partners. They were the Bomb Squad,
Yeah,
if you
yeah, that's
remember.
right. Yeah.
So they're good friends. So he's always booked on those shows. And we joked and we joked. And I was like, because he sold everything. IDB had 2 rings. He sold them. Bertha, which was the one that fit in the van, got sold to EWA downstate.
Hmm.
They had a smaller ring that it's considered it's a midget wrestling ring for smaller individuals wrestling, or a backyard ring. It's a small 14-foot ring. They had that. He sold that to a company in Canada to use for the training ring. The ring van died. They beat the shit out of it for a year. Mind you, I kept the thing running for 9 years. The ring van died. It's now it was a woodshed for him for years, and he finally got rid of it and sold it for scrap. So the only thing he really had left was like some leftover merchandise and the belts, which he wanted to keep. He doesn't even have the library. The hard drives got given to Randy Carver for safekeeping because he's good at storing that stuff because of the limitless stuff. He's stored it. He still has them to this day, and I'm trying to get it back. He's got his video guy trying to get them to me and whatever. Anyway, whole process, I'm still waiting on getting them back. But me and Bomb chalked it out, and I said, look, if I was going to do anything, I wouldn't bring Ida B back. He goes, why? I said, all of us are getting old. And a lot of the fans, they're, no offense, but a lot of them are too. And some of them are even passing away. I said, I'm not trying to be rude, but like literally, like, look, within, at one point, got to rest all of their souls within like a 2 to 3 month time span. Mark Godfrey, the captain, and Joey Gleets all passed away. I said, dude, we're dinosaurs. We're like, I think the best bet would be to just run a reunion show and let the fans get to say goodbye. He agreed. Said, yeah, you're probably right. So none of us are young anymore. Like, I tried reaching around trying to get people to come up for the reunion show. I got a lot of no's, man. Some people thought about it. Like, I hit up Jay Gillette. He thought about it. He's like, I don't really wrestle anymore, but I really kind of want to. Gino Martino, the human hammerhead from Stanley Superhuman, he thought about it. He's like, I'd love to, but I'm just too old. We're all getting too old. Graves made an appearance on the show. Didn't want to wrestle because his back was hurt, and then he was going to try to wrestle and have one last match with me. Because little did people know he wanted to get done wrestling too, and that's what we were going to do. But then he hurt himself at his shoot job, and he never got to do it. But a lot of the guys, like the guys I got for that reunion show, were guys that were either still active or the ones that said yes. I got a, pardon my language, I got a fuck ton of no's. From a lot of people that I'm not going to put them on blast here because it's not putting them on blast. They said no. They said no. But a lot of them, I asked them, and a lot of them said no. And then some didn't even show up because they were either sick or having emotional issues with the whole situation because of IWE is an important thing to a lot of people, and they all have different views of it. But I did what I could to make sure the IWE reunion show happened, and it did. And I granted Bomb his one wish. He wanted to wrestle Big Cat. Big Cat was never IWE. So we did an angle where John the Bomb invited him. At Last Act, his former owner invited him to a match. And that was the angle. But it was a one-time deal. And I'll be real. You know how I got it? Me and John the Bomb joked about it. We have no heat. We joked about it. I paid him $1 for the rights to IWE. You know why? They're not worth anything. The trademarks, the copyrights, they're all expired. Everything's gone. I literally paid $1 for a piece of paper. So you could run an IWE show because the copyrights and the trademarks are all expired. Everything's gone. Only thing I got out of it was a little bit of the old merch. John the Bomb gave it to me as a gift. And eventually, if I ever get the hard drives from Randy, but the problem is, Randy told me when he tried to access some of those hard drives, he couldn't access them either A, because they're too old, or B, because they're locked. I mean, I still have the old IWE editing laptop from when I edited the TV show, and it still works. So I might be able to access some of them, which I hope so, because I also have access to the YouTube channel. He did give me all the access points to all the different social media that still exists. The Snapchat, the Twitter, and the Instagram were closed and deleted. Only thing I was able to salvage was the old Facebook page, which you were talking about,
Yep.
and the YouTube channel. Which the YouTube channel is a shadow of its former self. There used to be thousands of subscribers. Now there's like less than 800 because it's gone. So I got essentially some YouTube. I got a YouTube and a Facebook page and some old merch for $1 and a piece of paper that says I own something that doesn't really exist anymore.
So when
So that's why we did a reunion, because it was just a way to say goodbye.
right. Well, so you
For
said
the
a reunion.
Not for me, for the fans.
Right, and definitely diehard fans for IWE. We were even up here in the north and huge fans of the IWE, following on YouTube, watching everything on there, the website as well, and trying to make trips as often as we could down to the IWE. The IWE has was a staple in the state, not just down there, the entire state, and we always appreciated you for having us down there and being a part of that and helping us with trainings and putting us in shows. Even though some of us had to work against like the Red Ranger, we still love you. We appreciate you. It was a way in. It was a way in.
Making it work, man. Like
It was the way in. I appreciate you for that.
everybody. Well, as everybody, like, okay, when IWE became like, okay, for the time that you can remember, there was probably certain people that stuck out in your brain from IWE. Give me a few of those. Give me a few of those people that stuck out in your brain. Other than me, give me a few. They're like, oh, this guy was great. This guy was great. This guy was great.
Yeah,
Like, give me those ones that stuck out in your brain.
Yeah, I'll give you some guys that I can think of right at the spot. I remember I used to follow Viper. Of course, there was you. We were to mention that. There was, oh goodness. Hold on, I got this. Johnny Primer always stuck out to me because he was just always around and always switching gimmicks. There was a Mackenzie guy. I can't remember his name.
Mackenzie?
Mackenzie. He was like a
Mackenzie, Andy Mackenzie. He was a former heavyweight champ.
Yes.
Him. Real tall guy.
Very tall guy. Yeah, he had like a yeah. That I remember him. Roblox, Hobo Joe, those are the two guys that I worked when I was down there at the time.
Yeah, but also their character stood out.
Yep. We had them. And Adam Ricker was a thing.
Yep.
And then watching it later on, it was like the JP O'Reilly with like the Penguin. I remember that. We had the Penguin guy. Yeah, that's just off the top of my head without really thinking too much.
Like, there's people that you could remember and attach to, and that was something I tried to do, like especially with the TV. Like, I try to get people to attach with certain characters. Like, certain people could be not the greatest of wrestlers, but if you could attach to their character, like I remember one time, and I'll give him props for this because I gave him some shit over the years, but I remember Roadblock would come out as Mark Mahoney with a goat. He had a pet goat, and he'd come out to Cotton Eye Joe, and everybody would be clapping Cotton Eye Joe. Everybody would sing the song. Big Moxie would come out, who was Matt Mahoney, which was his brother, would come out to All My Rowdy Friends Are Coming Over Tonight by Hank Williams Jr., and people used to sing the song. Me and Randy Carver from Limitless Wrestling talk about it this day, because Randy Carver used to be a kid in the audience and would watch the shows, and he remembers that. He remembers sitting in, and he remembers singing the songs, and the whole crowd would be like, all my rowdy friends are coming over tonight. Dun, 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 dun. Like, he remembers it. He's like, he never should change that fucking song because people would sing along to it. Primer hates it to this day, but everybody remembers Johnny Wood Hogan as a parody Hogan.
Johnny Wood Hogan's great.
He had Miss Jenna as his manager at one point, and he called her Miss Elizabeth. And he called his fans all the little hoagies. It was a parody. It was a funny thing.
That's great.
He hates it. He hated it. He hated it. By the end of it, it was so over. It was stupid. Scotty Vegas was the underdog champion forever. Mark Moment had the moment of truth where he'd always yak in the bucket. because he always puke every match. Like even if they weren't the greatest, they had a shtick.
Mm-hmm.
And if I could make it work, I remember I used Shockwave the robot for like months at one
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Going pounded down with Shockwave the robot because everybody's like, and then you see him, his whole armor, chest plate, and everything lights up. He had the confetti
Oh
blast.
yeah. Oh yeah. You brought him up. You brought him up here.
Cool. Yeah, and everybody's
Yeah.
like, "That's so cool." Like I'm like, "Yeah, that's what it was." Like it was entertainment, but then we had our wrestlers.
Mm.
Fast forward a few years, we'd have actually their competitive people. Like we'd have Jeremy Prophet who would do a 450, an early Mark Quinn before
Yeah.
AEW,
AEW. Yeah.
and now, Alex Mason, guys that would, God, like guys that would actually go out there and throw it down. Scotty Wild and Miyagi at the Tenacious
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we had some guys that would throw it down. Um, Hell, we had the run where Justin Incredible was our heavyweight champion. And this is when it was having his resurgence, when the WWE was looking at him again. He was in the best shape of his life. He was traveling to Mexico,
Yeah.
brought our heavyweight title to Mexico and defended it, I think, on the CMLL show. Random. Like, we had some traction as I to be, not going to lie to you. But the point being is we did things that caught your eye and kept you paying attention. And then you'd want to go to our shows. We were independent wrestling, but we were also we teeter-tottered between modern day wrestling and entertainment value.
Yeah.
So somebody like Roadblock who made you laugh and with a goat and Cotton Eye Joe, but then you had competitive wrestling with Jeremy Prophet doing a 450 or Scotty Wild and him having the best of
Yeah.
seven series and having
Yeah.
like a 30-minute Iron Man match
Oh my
and
god.
not be bored with it.
I remember
And
the best of seven with them
yeah,
two. I remember it's all
yeah,
just the more you're talking, I'm remembering this. I feel like this was around the time a little bit before you had what you have the lightweight championship, the light heavyweight championship, or something like that.
well, we announced that we were going to start having a junior weight division,
Junior weight,
which was
yeah,
going to
yeah.
be very reminiscent of like a cruiserweight division for WCW. And I had people from everywhere. Joel Bateman from Australia was making a tour of the US. Hit me up because he had found out that he had heard about that we were starting a junior weight division. We were doing a tournament, and the tournament was the first matches of the tournament were all going to be four ways, and then all the winners would face off.
Yep.
And that was the tournament. So he was up. He's like, "Can I come up and I'm gonna be in the States? I'd love to be a part of your tournament." So we had like him. We had Prophet for the first time. We had students from all the different schools, whether it be from New England Pro Wrestling Academy or you were in it,
This guy was in it.
or the Bell Time Club. Like I had people being sent to me from different schools and different companies to compete, and then we still had our own guy, and it was an actual junior weight tournament. And then we even did I think we did a last chance four way too at one show, which I think you were in that one. A last chance to fill this last spot. Yeah. Someone got hurt or something, and I was like, "Oh, we're gonna have all these people come that had lost to get a second chance." And then I remember last minute I made it a 5-way because Bateman came up and impressed people so much. I was like, "You're in it. You cannot not put you in it." Dude. And the matches were great. The junior weight division excelled, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
Like that's why I was trying to do some things, man, with it. Became something special for me, and we were like Motel 6. We kept the light on, but we also kept you entertained at the same time. The problem is we ran into the issue later when I sold it.
Yep.
Because it wasn't the same. I remember when I sold it, everybody was excited. It was like, oh, a breath of fresh air. They thought everybody like I'm going to call them out on this. Everybody started politicking with John the Bomb because he would tell me about it.
I believe it.
They all wanted a better spot. They all thought that they should be champion. All the while, John the Bomb himself wanted to be heavyweight champion.
Yep.
Like, yep. I was the mediator, keeping things where they should be for the fans. Like, I would the one that give the fans what they should have. And I always go back to the night that Robbie Ellis won the heavyweight title. First heavyweight championship in the state of Maine. He won at my show. And it was Scotty Vegas versus Ricky Williams. They're the big feud there was going on. And Vegas had lost. Ricky Williams had cheated. Robbie Ellis comes to the ring to check on Vegas. gets into it with Ricky Williams, captain, the man that made it happen. Because they start shoving in Robbie. You're not going to do that to Robbie Ellis. He's a legend. If you're going to do that, we're going to have a match right here, right now. Robbie Ellis hits Ricky Williams with the sliced bread out of the corner. Boom, 1, 2, 3, beats him for the title. Crowd erupts.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great friggin' moment. Great moment. And then he's emotional because everybody's like, "You deserve it." Like 200 people chanting his name and saying, "You deserve it." We had the locker room clear out and lift
Mm-hmm.
him up and praise
Yeah.
him. Yeah, it was a great moment. And afterwards, he thanked me. And I remember the thing he said afterwards after he thanked me and he hugged me and he was crying. And then mind you, this is like 70, 80-year-old man crying in my arms. So he's like this like the most important moment of his life. And he's like, I wish I had waited to do my movie. He did a movie called Canvas Man, which is about his life. He said he wished he'd waited and had them come to this a show because that'd been the best way to end off the movie about his life. It's like this is like one of the most important things of his life, and I'm happy because he got to have a little run with the title. Then he dropped it, went to Italy for a trip, and then on that trip, on the way back from the trip, he was seeing his doctors, and he found out he had like a blood clot issue, couldn't wrestle anymore. So I'm happy he got to have that before he had to get done, you
Yeah.
know. But anyway, we did some amazing things. It just what happened was also wrestling is changing, and this is back when I remember, like when I sold the company, we were going head to head with Limitless. Randy had just started Limitless in Orono, the American Legion, and we were sometimes it was we'd be running the same month, sometimes we weren't. One time, we ran the same weekend, same Saturday night. He was in Orono, we were in Brewer, and he had a star-studded roster of local guys that were like like big name Lindy guys in the area from across New England. I had my regular roster, mind you. This time, this is I think it's November, and on the last show I did was December, January before I sold it. I had Shockwave, I had Mrs. Belmont versus Christina Marie, and my rest of my local guys, and we literally cut the crowd in half. He had a few more than I did. He had like I think we had like 138, and he had like 152. Something like that. We literally cut the crowd in half. So if one of us had ran by itself, could have drove a huge house. But we ran against each other and we split the crowds in half. And I remember because Bomb's like, it's like we took a sword and cut the crowd base in half. It's like it's really much what we did tonight. And we ran December and then January with 2017. That was the last time I was actively helping run the shows. But shortly after that, Randy left Orono and went to Southern Maine, which was the smartest thing he ever did because it made him blow up huge. Just easier to get talent, more of a fan base, big city. Up here, it's hard, you know. I mean, everyone's like, "Well, you just drew 219 people in Brewer." I'm like, "Yeah, but it took me 2 months, and I literally every week was out hanging flyers, going to businesses, sharing, pushing. Like, it's a lot of work."
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing with the IWB. IWB can't come back.
Right. Yeah. It's you breaking it down the way you did. I understand it now. Everyone who's gonna hear this
You can have the
completely understands it.
reunion and you can have the reunion and enjoy it for what it is. And like maybe even if you did a yearly reunion, it wouldn't be the same because a lot of the old IWB guys just aren't doing it anymore.
Yeah.
Hell, Miyagi is what, a ring announcer, a ring commentator now, and this is the last year I'm doing it. Eimer's all done. Graves is all done. Like I already asked, but I know because I asked a bunch of people for the first reunion if they want to do it, and they all said no.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we could probably do maybe one more, but after that, what? Like, how many?
Right.
You can't. Yeah, so maybe one more, sure, but after that, you're gonna get a lot of no's just because we're all too old, and it's got to be IWB guys. I literally threw Big Cat that one bone because that's what John the Bomb wanted. That was the one dip, and I gave it to him. But I said, hey, don't plan on this all the time if we do these reunions because it's not going to be a thing. Like it's going
Can,
to be I to B guys and it's going to be hard to do. But
can
yeah,
you do that for us here? Could you tell me a little bit about this new generation of guys that are coming into the business? I know you worked with a lot of them that we're working with now that at the dojo at the time. Um, do you see a lot of similarities with these guys with the like the generation that you were coming up? Do you see differences? Do you think they
pros
have
and
it
cons.
easier? Pros and cons. Can you tell me a little bit about those pros and cons?
Well, wrestling is also different now than back then.
Yeah.
When I ran training, I ran what 4 to 6 shows a month, and all the training would be before it.
Hmm.
You learned on the road because that's how I learned, and it made you respect it and understand it more. Nowadays, it's a lot more schools. Where the Limitless Dojo though is closed now, but there's Pine State Pro. But a lot of the guys that came from the dojo, they had a place to go. They had one specific place that you had to go to do it. I think you learn more respect in the old way of going to shows and training before the events. So you go, you set up, you train, help with the event, tear down, do it again the next day. And I did that 4 to 6 a month, 4 to 6 shows a month. And the best part was the money didn't even go in my pocket. It would always go recycle right back into the show somehow, whether paying for TV or advertising or paying for the shows itself. So this generation, not trying to be rude, but a lot of them don't have that same respect from the travel. And that's the problem. But one.
Mm.
However, because they came from a school, they're able to get more of the essentials they needed to learn. Do they retain them the same way? Not so much. Some people, yes. Some people, no. Everybody's different. I feel like when you learn on the road, you are forced to retain it
Mm.
because you're put on the spot when you're learning it. And you're hungry enough to absorb it more like a sponge. When you go to a school, I remember when I was teaching at the dojo, um, sometimes I felt like every class I would help fill in and teach, I'd have to reteach somebody something. And I'm like, if you're not fucking retaining this, why are you even here? Like, when the dojo opened, I was not a trainer. My students were the trainers. MSP
Mm.
were the trainers, along with Alexander Lee and Calvin Strange. Around the time of COVID happened, a lot of the trainers dropped off. And I had stopped in a few times at one point or another to help fill in when someone's sick or something. But when COVID happened, I was there all the time because a lot of them didn't want to do it or didn't want to travel. I said, look, as long as Randy picks me up, I'll do it. And he would pick me up on the way through and I would do it. And I would run the classes and help things go along, getting along. And I could just see that there's a different gap. And that there's only so many times I want to teach you how to properly lock up and take a head. There's only so many times I want to teach you how to take an arm bar or an arm drag or give a hip toss. If you're not retaining it, then we're starting over. If you're not even retaining the roll drills and basic cardio, neck raises,
Mhm.
and that was a problem. But at a certain point, we were able to fix it, and we had a bunch of good crew of students come out of there. But then people got complacent.
Mm.
Um, and this is something I think me and Randy talked about recently. It was that crew got complacent, either A, because life gets in the way. I get it. Or B, you start getting the nod to take bookings, and then you get a bunch of bookings. You're like, I don't have time to go to class. I have to work that night because I have a show this weekend. Okay, well, you ain't keeping your shit quick if you're not making the time for it. Unless you're like really seasoned like me, we've been doing it over 20 years. I've probably forgotten more than I've ever learned.
Uh,
Um,
mhm.
but the point being is you get complacent. You got to keep your shit quick. Also, how are you going to learn new things if no one's teaching you? I remember someone would be like, I want to learn something new. Okay. How can I teach you someone new if you're fucking up a headlock takeover?
Yeah. Yeah.
Basic headlock with the
Yeah.
takeover. It's very similar to an arm drag. except with the head. Like I'm not, and then I mean, I can give all the gory details if I want on here, but like,
Right. Right.
if you're fucking up the basic essentials, I can't teach you something new. And no, I'm not going to teach you something crazy new and stupid. Like, oh, I used to do what's called a move of the day. If you earned it, I would teach you a move of the class, the move of the day. If they didn't earn it, they wouldn't. Most of the time, they did. But the modern day wrestling also is different from the past. Like, there are different new ways that are taught compared to the old ways. For instance, I had to reteach myself how to run the ropes differently. Like
Mm.
back in the day, I was taught flat back, which is the old way because it causes there's more contact on the ropes to shove you off. It's also it was thought to be safer because you can grab whatever you need to grab with more body parts. However, now they teach the side of your hip with the ropes on your side because you can wrap your entire body around the rope
Mm.
if you're falling out of the ring. Which I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. But I had to reteach myself. I'm old. I'm
Mm.
this actually there was an incident that happened, which is funny. Back when Brian Fury ran the New England Pro Wrestling Academy, I had one of my students called. He was at the Secret Weapon, Aaron Anderson, because he did martial arts, but he also traveled a lot for his actual shoot job. And he's like, I want to keep my shit quick. You okay if I go to the New England Pro Wrestling Academy? I'm like, yeah, just tell. I'll send a message to Brian Fury because I knew him for many years
Mhm.
from wrestling him on NWA Fire and stuff. I was like, I'll shoot him a message for you so you can get your foot in the door, and he'll probably give you a cheap rate because you're already a worker. You've already been working matches. And he's like, yeah, okay. So he put him in the intermediate class just to work the rust off, and gave him like a $20 a visit price just to pay
Mm.
due fees for the
Mhm.
whatever time he's there. And Johnny Vegas, I think, was the trainer that day. And my student Aaron Anderson was running the ropes flat back, and they were yelling at him from the ropes wrong. Johnny Vegas says, "No, he's not. He's not running them wrong. He's running them the old school way."
Mm.
He goes, "Who taught you that?" He's like, "Who taught you that?" He's like, "My trainer, Eric Johnson." And he's like, "Eric Johnson, is that his wrestling name?" He used to go by Jive and Jimmy. Eric Atlas. He's like, "I know Jive and Jimmy. You're fine. Keep doing it how you're doing it."
Mhm.
And they're like, "What?" He goes, "He's running them the old school way. That's stuff that was taught back like in the '80s and '90s. It's not taught that way now. It's not
Mhm.
wrong. It's like a lot of older. It's like Johnny Vegas is like, that's how I run the ropes.
Yeah.
He's fine."
Yeah.
And Fury even said, "Hey, he's fine. It's safe. Many people still run it like that. Kowalski used to teach like that. Like there's no issue with it. Leave it
Yeah.
alone." So
I still run them like that. So.
yeah, but what it is WWE looks for you run on the side of your hip.
Mm.
So and
Mm.
that's similar. So you don't die.
Yeah.
If the rope breaks, you fall the ring with it. You don't die. So there's different things. So I would try to teach the most modern stuff.
Mhm.
When Scotty Suhadi came up for Limitless Wrestling, up to Morgan Hill, um, I was on the show early and then had to go to work afterward. So I went on the show and I left, so I didn't get to watch Scotty Suhadi's match, but he was doing a seminar the next day. So I picked his brain because I was still helping at the dojo here and there. Because since COVID, when I goes there all the time, I stayed on as a fill-in
Mm.
once everybody started coming back. So I was still trying to help. So I was trying to make sure I'm teaching him what's modern stuff. So I was picking his brain. Hey, how do you teach this way now, or do you teach this? Like, I don't want to give away gory details on here,
Yeah.
but I was picking his brain. And then he would also I then asked him about my match because he said he saw it because he heard my hot pop when I came out. We were the first match of the night. I was wrestling some kid from Australia. I forget his name. He was up here, same thing. He was doing the same thing as Bateman did. He was here for like a week or two. He was making the rounds at different places. And Randy put him on. He's like, okay, well, I didn't have a spot, so he put me against him, and it was a quick 5-minute, 6-minute match, and it was simple. But I got a hot pop when I came out, which drew his attention. It was people erupted when I came out because it was a
Mm.
surprise, and it got his attention. So he watched it. He's like, "It's real simple." Da, 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 da. I said, "You pander a lot, though. You shouldn't pander a lot because WWE doesn't like that." I said, "What do you mean? Like, you ask the fans for this, that? You ask them?" I said, okay." So he's like, "Yeah, we don't. They don't like that. Don't do that." I said, "Okay." And he's like, "And if you know your match is only gonna be 5, 6 minutes long, I had him kick out of something." He's like, "No, just do the one pin then. It's like that short. Save the pin for the end when
Mm.
you know it's over." This way you get that strong count from the crowd. And I'm like, makes sense.
Mm, mm,
Things like that.
yeah.
But he gave me a lot of tips on teaching them stuff. And then he taught a few drills and stuff, and I took that and I pieced it and I used it with the kids. And I always call them kids, but they're not kids, but
Yeah.
you know what
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's what the term. I eventually stepped away from teaching at the dojo. I had to. Um, my issue is the business is ever changing. I was getting older, and I also had to work Tuesdays, which was the one day I could teach. And I said I just can't financially do that. I got 2 kids I got to worry about, and I put my time in. And as I said to Randy, like this school was built with my students being the teachers, and a lot of them had left. I think at the end it was just Jossie that was teaching, and Ben at the time, which is Scotty Vegas. And I put my time in. He respected it. He's like, dude, I understand. You put more time in than anybody. You don't need to explain it. So this was around the time I lost in the cage to Brett for the Let's Wrestle title.
Mm.
I lost the title to him in the cage. That very week was the last day I taught classes. So as of the end of that show where I dropped the Let's Wrestle belt was the last hoorah for me teaching. I don't want to teach anymore. I still get people that ask me all the time. I'm like, I'm too old. I'll give advice. I don't want to teach. I put my time in. I also had my school for like ever, the compound.
Mm.
And it was just too much.
So you were saying that you don't want to teach, and I'm gonna just ask you that this is the in October, on the 24th, if I'm correct, is we have it as a farewell for tour for yourself here.
Oh yeah.
So after all this time, so is you're set that this is it? What made you decide to be like? You're saying right now you don't want to teach. Now it sounds like you don't want to wrestle. Like, or is it done? What made you kind of decide that this is it? This is the final hurrah for Eric
You
Johnson?
hit the nail on the head. I don't want to.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
I didn't want. When I stopped teaching, everybody's like, "Oh, well, did you lose the passion for it?" I'm like, "No, I don't lose the passion for wrestling. It's just the wrestling world is changing, and it's not what it used to be."
mm,
There's things I have differences of opinions about stuff, and that's why I'm like, I don't mind telling you my opinion because it's just my opinion. But I'm like, it's not. This isn't wrestling anymore. Watch it. It's not.
mm.
It's a stunt show.
Yeah.
I'm over that. Like you're not telling a story. My matches always tell a story, and that's why they connect with people. We're missing that. Like some of the older guys still do it. And you watch them, but like, what happens when those guys get done? It's just a stunt show. And I get it because people want to have the best match of the night. They're like, I'm going to do all this, do all that. And I'm like, they want to go viral. They want to do something crazy. It's like, I get it. I get it. You're all trying to get a job. You're all trying to get a spot. You're all trying to get whatever you're trying to get. You're trying to get it. And I get that too. But you're forgetting the one thing. What about the fans? Like, you're supposed to be entertaining them. Whether you're making them laugh, you're making them cry, or you're pissing them off, making them cheer, making them boo. You're forgetting about it. And every match, when I go out there, I'm trying to get a rise out of them in one shape or way or form. I'm trying to tell them a story. And every match I do does that on purpose. And that's why I connect with everybody because I will not stop until I connect with you. So this way you get it.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't like that because it's not what's modern anymore. And I understand that too. Like, yeah, the wrestling needs to change. No, I'm not lazy. I'm just getting old. I still put my body on the line. I put my body on the line in an I Quit match last Saturday, and I took a bump on Legos and I did stupid funny stuff too. Got hit in the back with a broken TV, flat screen TV by JP O'Reilly. Like I proved my point. Like, oh, I'm not lazy. I can still take things. I can still do things. But I'm still going to tell a story, and I did. And I connected with a lot of people, and then I told them that October 24th
Mm.
is it for me. The
Yeah.
reason why also is my body hurts daily. Anytime I bump I dislocate my ribs. Not all of them. But I can literally feel my ribs dislocate because I'm a 370-pound man taking a bump on my ribs, and I've been doing it for 23 years. So that's a problem. Like if my ribs keep dislocating that easily, and I can feel it when I breathe and when I sleep, I have to see a chiropractor to pop them back. I literally just saw a chiropractor Monday to pop them back in. They don't. Sometimes they don't stay. Sometimes I go to bed after I see a chiropractor and I can feel it. One of them dislocate, and I'll wait a week and then have to go in and have them pop it back in again.
Mm.
So I can only go once a week financially, and that's not cheap either. So, and then on top of that, I got one bum leg pretty much because one leg is the one I tore my quad on,
Mm.
but tore it completely off my knee and had to rehab that. That was back when Randy did the fundraiser for me when I was laid up for 6 months.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah, remember that? Yeah, yeah.
yeah, because it completely ripped right off my kneecap, and that
Mm.
wasn't from wrestling. That's from falling down the stairwell at
Stairs,
my apartment.
yeah, yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that.
and then before that, I broke my ankle on both sides wrestling in Canada,
Mm.
and to have 2 plates and 5 titanium screws hold my ankle together for 68 months.
Holy smokes!
So it's all on the same leg. So that's my bum leg, and I still drop leg drops with that leg. I still hit leg lariats with that leg, like,
The
but
old
it
leg
don't work.
lariat.
I can't go. Let's say you go for a hike and you go hike for 5 miles. 1 mile in, my ankle's burning. I can't do it.
Mm.
I feel like my ankle's on fire just because of the muscles and the damage and all the nerve endings and stuff. Like, there's some things I can't do. But they're like, oh, well, you move pretty good for wrestling, even though I'm considering. I'm like, yeah, because it's wrestling. I'm in one
Yeah.
spot.
Mhm.
I'm in a 16 by 16 square usually. And I know I've done it so long, I know what my body can and cannot do.
Yeah.
But if I go hike a mountain, I can do it. A mile up that mountain, my legs are gonna go, yep, nope. So
Mm.
I'm still taking bookings right now. But I told everybody, I was like, by the end of this year, I'm done. So get them while the getting's good. And I know that like some people took advantage of it. Ryan Colson booked me for all 3 of his next dates. For Ryan Michaels, I'm doing Rockland, the Dome, and Augusta. Like he's like, yep, why don't you follow him because everybody loves you.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
gonna get you on the eat. I'm supposed to do the Phoenix Pro show Saturday. I don't know what's going on. I know there's a bunch of issues, and I think they fixed them. But I definitely will be there. And that's just Russell JP again.
Mhm.
What else? June 6th for MPW. I'm supposed to defend my MPW championship against Wesley Pipes. I'm still the champ. And what was funny is after the show Friday, I wrestled Maverick,
Mm.
and I remembered because I went and like I said, I like try to connect with the fans.
Yeah.
And Neil says, "That's why you're still my champ because you connect with the fans and you put butts in the seats." Like I also know like as I complain about the things that changed wrestling, that's also what makes me hate it. When I get out there and perform, it's still what makes me like it. I
Mm.
know that sounds like
Yeah.
yin and yang, but like I went out there and had a great time on Saturday, even though I'm getting hit with trash cans and falling on on Legos and stuff. But I still enjoy it. My body doesn't. My body don't. And you got to know when it's time to say no. And I was like, "Oh, you done completely?" After that, I said, "I'm done actively taking bookings after
Mm.
that."
Mhm.
So if something pops up where like Randy used to do fundraisers for the Special Olympics, yeah, I'll come help because I know I can put some asses in the seats.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to do that free event for Down East Horizons for the kids? I'm in. I'll come do it because kids know me and like me, and I'll do things that are right.
Oh yeah.
But I'm not going to go take a night off from work to take a booking.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people got to understand too. Like I take a night off from work. I'm not cheap. I get it. Like I'm not trying to be an asshole, but
Mhm.
I charge a lot of money for that. I do. It's because I have to take a night off of work to do that.
Mm. Yeah.
My job, I get $100 an hour. So I have to take, let's say I got to wrestle for you guys in Van Buren. I got to drive 3 hours up, do your show, then 3 hours back. So there'd be gas, mileage now, and gas is super expensive. And on top of that, it's 3 hours each way. Plus, I still got to do the match.
Mhm.
I have to take the entire day off. So when I tell people like I'm going to Rockland for Ryan, I'm like, I got to take the entire day off. I need this much money, and they go, "That's a lot." I'm like, "Yeah, but people know who I am, and I'm worth it. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I have to take an entire day off from work, from work, which I have 2 children I have to pay for. So, and they're older, so everything's more expensive. They eat more, it costs more in bills. Like I try not to be rude about it, but I try to tell people like,
Yeah.
I don't do this for the passion anymore. Do I still enjoy it? Of course. Otherwise, I still wouldn't be taking bookings. I would have got done a while ago. I've been like, yep, I'm done now. But I do it. I can't justify it anymore to the point where I'm like, oh, it's a hobby. Some people, this is like their thing. Like it's their one. This is their get out. This is their
Yeah.
detachment from life. This is what they do. This is their hobby. This is the thing that gets them out of their life. I did this for. Doing this for 23 years. It's not for me. Like that's not me anymore. And I also can't justify it when I have to go to a chiropractor that charges me $100 to pop my ribs back in and to pop my leg so that it doesn't hurt for the week while I'm going to work, things like that.
Yeah.
So I figured this is the best time to call my shot. And I said, okay, Neil from MPW volunteered the venue because that's his spot. He always runs the island, Indian Island. He always runs it. And he said, hey, I have a date in October and a date in June. Originally, I was going to do it in June, but there's waterfront concerts. And I said, I'm not competing with that. There's waterfront concerts like 2 to 3 a week, all through June and July and August. It's crazy, which is literally 20 minutes from there. I'm not competing with that. He's like, you want to do your show in October? I said, yeah. And I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I thought about it. I said, well, it's the day before my birthday, 10 minutes from my house, in the area I graduated from high school, where a bunch of my friends and family live. I can't get much more perfect than that.
Perfect.
Now I called my shot, and it's gonna be it. Win, lose or draw. It's my last one. So everybody's like, "Are you still gonna run Ring Wars after that?" And I know that we haven't gotten to that question of, because you asked me like 2 or 3 questions at the same time, but Ring Wars started as an idea, and I want to keep it going, but it's just the problem is the idea is changed. When I started Ring Wars, it started as a competition show, like you were talking about.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be once every like 6 months or whatever. And it's a competition show between all the different promotions. And because I worked for all the different promotions, I could play the intermediate person, between Let's Wrestle, Crown, MPW, MEW. I could be the guy that's like, okay, everybody, stay calm, stay cool. Here's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna book these matches out for the best betterment of the card, and then we're gonna flip a coin, and that's how we're gonna do every match. And everybody was cool with it, and it worked out all the way up until Ring Wars 4. I took the summer off after Ring Wars 4, and I had to then realize that some things had to change because the issue is there isn't as many promotions anymore. They just Let's Wrestle doesn't run anymore since the dojo closed. We all know what happened to MEW and Mike Turner. Gone. Along with his other side project, which was Courageous. So there's 3 promotions. Neil from MPW only has June. After that, he has no more shows the rest of the year. And you guys have your show coming up, but before this, you hadn't had a show in a bit, right? See what I mean? I did the math. Ring Wars had more shows than Crown, MEW, and MPW combined last year. If you count January back, we had more shows than everybody combined. So I was like, I got to change the format. It can't just be a competition show. It's a competition show. Everybody was going out to fight for medallions, and whoever had the most medallions would win that competition for that night. Whether it be Ring Wars 1, 2, 3, 4. the Joey Gleason Memorial Rumble, where all the different promotions send people down to compete to become the grand champion of Ring Wars. Eventually, what it was is all the people that won a Ring Wars event could use their win to challenge or send someone to challenge for the grand championship, which was the plan. And then that changed. Because we started running more shows than everybody else, and that's not to be a dick. I had to change the format. So I started basing it off of essentially the people that were helping me do the work at first. It's like, well, this person does the work. Obviously, I got to book the grand champion, which was at the time Alan Prophet. Now it's Maverick. Have to book the interpromotional champion, which is still Chad Casanova. He still hasn't lost it. I have to book the tag champ still, which at first was TBD. Now it's the Pathway. So I have to book the champions, and then I have to book around the champions. And then I would book people that would help do the work. And that's why I tell everybody, last show, I said, if you ain't helping me do the work, I'm cutting you off the show. I'm going to put someone else that's going to. You could be the best wrestler on the planet, but if you ain't helping do the work to make the show special, every show for any promotion should be special. And you should have people on the shows that make it special, that want to make it special. If they're just there to wrestle, get rid of them. They're not part of the plan. You can clap louder. I know you like that part.
I love that part because I'm a little bit more hands on with Crown this year, and we're trying to instill that in the guys up here that you have to be a part of this. You got to want to be a part of this. If you just want to wrestle and not help with the postering and having these meetings and try to develop new ideas and help us throw things against the walls to build this company, then we don't have a spot for you. And some people have a hard time with that, and some people have had to go. So I'm glad you said that, because that's exactly what I'm thinking here.
I told that to Neil, and I actually had a discussion at his show. He had me, because he had to go deal with the door at his show. He intentionally left on purpose so I could yell at his roster for him on Friday last week, and I yelled at them. I told some of them to go F themselves because they're not doing the work that they should. They can't even advertise a show that they're on. Meaning, if someone sends you, hey, this is the event page, maybe you should share it instead of sharing that dog meme you saw or sharing that random cat video you watched. You could share the event page, or share a poster, or share your match graphic, or share your opponent's promo, or share your promo. Oh, wait, you didn't send one? Yeah, because you're lazy and you didn't want to send one. You just want to show up and wrestle. So I literally ripped into his roster, and you can tell the people that knew that they got called out. You can tell by the look on their face, and the ones that didn't, that because they actually do the work. Yep. And then I went a little lighter on my roster, but I said something to my roster the next day, because my roster has a lot of people that I know will help do the work, and then the ones that don't, I just don't rebook them. I don't even yell them at them. I go, okay, and I just don't rebook you. And then you wonder why you're not getting booked. Oh, well, you didn't do the work. Or your match sucked, one of the two. If your match was terrible, or if your work's terrible, or if you're not doing what I ask of you. I mean, I do a lot of tests on people. They just don't know it. I tell Neil about it from MPW because he's right along there, and I'll tell him the positives and negatives. I tell him when someone isn't sharing something. He brought a name in for a show. Not going to say who. Not going to say what show. But said name didn't do one thing to advertise his event. He brought the name in. Name wrestled on his show. No one knew he was there until that week when he shared it that week of the show. He goes, oh, I didn't even know. I was like, here's all of his social medias, and I showed him. He didn't advertise it to the week of that show. He's like, I'll never use that name again. I was like, I bet you won't.
I got a question for you. How would you handle the talent that may not see eye to eye with your booking of them and the usage of them, and they say things to you like they get upset with you on a personal level, right? And they'll say things like, you may want to get a plan B because I may not be there for the show. How would you handle that?
Independent wrestling, everybody's replaceable, and there's always an upgrade. I will say this: there's always an upgrade. For instance, Neil had already started from MPW. Started trimming the fat from his shows. He already started to.
Good.
So he started bringing in more higher caliber independent talent cost him more money. He said, well,
Yeah.
I'd rather get rid of them and get an upgrade than get a downgrade. Because at least with the upgrade, you get a better wrestler, you get better talent. They're going to bring more eyes to you. And then more than likely going to share the shit because those guys are premier talent. And that's what he did. And guess what? Lit a fire into some people's asses. So here's what I would say to said person. Do you really think you're that valuable that you can't replace you with somebody else? Because I'm pretty sure if it's someone in this state and you think you're not replaceable, all they got to do is call me. I'm going to put more asses in the seats than you are. Mind you, I'm more expensive, but that, again, goes back to the Neil method. I'm an upgrade.
Yeah.
You're the downgrade.
Yeah.
And this isn't me being an asshole. This is me being honest. You're trying to teach you something. There's in the world of wrestling, in the world of life, there's always someone bigger and better than you. You got to know where your value is on a personal level, on a business level, financial level, whatever it may be in life, period. And this is not an ego trip. This is me saying, I know my value and I don't have to do something if I don't want to for certain things. So this person, whoever they may be, I don't know who they are, but know your value. Oh, you don't want to do it? Okay. There's plenty of indie guys in the state that probably would take that spot. Some worth more, some worth maybe less. They will replace you. Some may do the work more than you will. Example being, we went back to the like we were talking before the show that I'd been on Processions podcast, right? Some of their videos, their top ranked videos, are ones of me. Mind you, a lot of the boys and the fans probably watching it. My personal boys like wrestlers and the fan. Yeah. There's a video up there from it's about Ring Wars. It was a promo from Brandino Davis. It was from Ring Wars 7. For the last 2 to 3 months, it's one of their top. Within the last 2 to 3 months, it was their top video. It has like over 100 views on it. There might be one that just passed it recently, but for like the last 2 to 3 months, it was the top video. Within the last 3 months was this promo, which I got shared on my Ring Wars page, my personal page, and any other pages that I'm attached to, the IWB page. So it reached a bigger audience and got them more views. But the point being is, it's all about what your value is. And I might be pissing on someone's Cheerios right now, but if you ain't got the value, there's somebody else that will. Yeah. And that goes to something that no one teaches you in wrestling, is knowing your value. If you overvalue yourself, you won't get booked. You undervalue yourself, you might get booked all the time, but you ain't making no money, or you're not at least break it even. And I only know all this stuff because I'm an independent contractor by trade. It's my job. I DJ.
Yeah.
3 to 4 nights a week.
You be hustling, man. I see you.
Yeah, you see all my social media is covered with DJ posters and wrestling posters or promos, wrestling DJ promos, like DJ videos, like this. It's just what it is.
Always working.
Yeah, that's my job. I literally just paid my taxes, which sucks because I have to pay out of pocket every year because I'm a 1099 worker, and I pay thousands of dollars in taxes. Yeah. So, but my point being is, I know what my value is. So if I charged $100 for a $5-hour gig, I'm probably not gonna make a lot of money. But especially if I'm buying tracks or buying things I need. No.
Yeah.
So look at it from a wrestling standpoint. If I'm traveling 3 hours one way especially now with gas prices, they're going up daily. 3 hours one way, and I charge $20. Boy, guess who's losing money at the end of this trip?
Hell yeah.
So it's not just on a financial level, but also on a perspective. So if you have, I'll use myself as an example so it doesn't insult anybody. So if you have me on a poster, okay, and then on a separate poster advertising the same event, you have, I don't know, Bilbo Baggins from Hobbit Town, USA, that no one knows about. Who's going to draw you more? Probably me, right? Because people know who I am. But don't know Bilbo Baggins from Hobbit Town, USA. No one knows him. He might have a cool name. They might confuse him with some other thing, but
Mm-hmm.
they don't know who he is. So you're not. It's just the point of value. Okay, so you live up there.
Yep.
I mean, okay, so you're more than likely going to get the word out to all your friends and family about your show that you're on. Okay, so you're going to draw more people than I don't know someone in the southern part of the state that just started out in wrestling. Let's say they're fresh out of
Yeah.
a wrestling school. They're not going to draw you in. Nobody. You might draw more people than obviously because you live up there than they do.
Mm-hmm.
So other than their gas money, they're not really worth as much to you because you got to pay them gas to come wrestle for you. You need wrestlers for a wrestling show, but you're going to draw more than that person is.
Mm.
That's knowing the value.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a tough thing to talk about because people don't want to talk about it. But this is something that no one's going to teach you.
Yeah.
And it's a generality for wrestling. And a lot of people, guys like me, the old guys that know about this stuff, will teach you that. But in most wrestling schools, they don't teach you that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't teach you the etiquette either. They may teach you about respect and shaking hands and all that fun stuff, but they won't teach you the values. And it's a lost thing. Lost in trend. No one taught me it. I picked it up along the way from guys like Tony Atlas when I was doing his shows. And then, I also picked it up just from the way I was treated. Like, for instance, I used to be called Eric Atlas, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. The reason why I was called Eric Atlas is because, as I told you, remember I was trained by Larry for that 6 months, and I was almost ready for matches, and then I randomly went to that Tony Atlas show. Yeah, they changed my name to that because of that reason, out of spite. So when I was doing the shows for New Wrestling Horizons, like, we're going to call him Eric Atlas. Hopefully it pisses off Tony, so Tony won't use me.
Wow.
Tony said, "Yeah, go ahead, kid, keep using it. Just don't use it on my shows." He's like, "They're just being dicks. Don't worry about it." And then eventually me and Tony tagged together, and that's even funnier. So me and Tony tagged as American Muscle. It made it even funnier because it was Eric and Tony Atlas, or Tony and Eric Atlas, American Muscle. It was even funnier because he was like, "I don't care now. It's fine." But it's just things, you got to read between the lines and pick it up. It took me a minute to figure it out, but I figured it out like, oh, they're doing this to piss off Tony, so Tony will stop using me because I left them to go work for Tony.
I love that.
And Tony's like, "Oh, it's all right, kid. You just go by something else when you're here, but when you work for them, you can use my name. I don't care. It's fine."
So, man, I could sit here and talk to you for another 2.5 hours.
I know I'm giving you a lot of information. There's a lot. That's why
this
so
is
many
great.
podcasts.
And like I told everyone else, I said it's early enough in the season for us that we're gonna recite. We're gonna go back again and get you guys back here on the podcast. So I want to thank you so much for making time today to join me here on the podcast, and thank you for viewing the podcast on YouTube as well, and for keeping
I do my research.
I appreciate that because there was somebody who came in here who didn't see anything, and I was like, you should probably go see that before, just so you know what's going on
before I do any podcast.
No,
I also
beautiful.
because I DJ, I listen to music all the time. I actually, when I'm going to and from gigs, I don't listen to music. I listen to podcasts because I hear so much music that I don't need sensory overload.
Right.
So I'm like, I just listen to a podcast, whether it be Inside the Ropes or Kevin Nash or Steven Richards' podcast or Eric Bischoff's or anything with Conrad Thompson's and stuff. He does all that different
Cornette
ones.
Do you listen to Jim Cornette's podcast?
I used to.
You got too much? He's too much.
Because corny's always corny, man. Like, he ain't going to change his views.
No.
Where he's not really involved in anything anymore. At least back when he was with the NWA, I was listening to his stuff. And then when he burned that bridge, it was like, all right, well.
Yeah.
That. So a lot of what I watch now is Steven Richards, Kevin Nash. I try listen to a bunch of the local ones. Like I listen to the Processions ones. I watched all of your guys. Some of the other ones I can't watch. Because I'll watch them and then you think they're gonna be about the guests that they're talking to, and then like I said, they'll start talking about themselves, and I'm like,
I want to hear. Yeah, we talked about that, but I appreciate them giving me the motivation to create something myself, so we can have you guys as the focal point. So I
You had
hope,
you had plenty of questions, man, and you even had multiple questions loaded into one question.
yeah,
And I was just like, "Oh,
absolutely,
that's like a three-part question."
absolutely, and they just let you go, right? Because this is what it's about. It's about
We had to come back
conversation.
to some of it. I had to come back a couple times, but I was like, "I'm gonna get them all answered." I
Yeah,
think I
you
answered them
did.
all.
You did. You did. So again,
Little
I want to thank you for joining me here today. And I hope to do this again. And I'm definitely going to. I'm glad that I reached out to you to have you a part. I kind of know you're busy. You got a lot of things going on, but you made time, and I appreciate that. So at the end of
yeah.
my podcast, I don't like to do socials or things like that. I like to do if you can give a tip, a hint, some motivation. And for you, I want to do a two-part. I want to be able to do for talent that's in the business or people who are new to the business, and the other part I would like for you to do for like promoters, owners who are trying to build something. If you have any words that can help them along their way.
I'll start with the promoters because there was actually randomly an out-of-state promoter that came to my show um, last Saturday, and I didn't know he was there. And he
Mm,
introduced himself, and he was like, "Oh, I'm so and so from this. Can I pick your brain because you
yeah.
actually have a really good turnout? I wanted to know a few things." I said, "Okay." He's like, "You had a good house. You had a great card. I mean, like I'm trying to understand how do I build it up?" I'm like, "Well, first off, you got to surround yourself with the people that support your company or you. If they're not supporting you or the company, get rid of them. If they ain't doing the work, get rid of them. If they ain't putting butts in the seats, get rid of them. Unless they have any of these things, get rid of them." And that sounds mean, but it's not. It's a business. If someone's not doing the work that you need them to do, get rid of them within some reasoning. I mean, especially if they're your friends, they should be helping. If they're not helping you, get rid of them. Like if they're your friends and they are helping you but not putting the butts in the seats, well, at least they're helping. If people are helping but not putting butts in the seats, at least if they're like lugging the ring and putting the chairs out and putting flyers out, but they're not putting butts in the seats, at least they're doing the part. Yeah. So for promoters, make sure you keep people that do the part. If they're not doing the part, get rid of them. If they're not giving you anything to work with that's going to be a positive for you. If the pros outweigh the cons,
Mm.
and the cons outweigh the pros, it sounds mean, but that's what you got to do. Even with a business, you wouldn't. Let's say you run a sandwich shop, and there's this one guy that makes your sandwiches, makes them in a timely manner, gets them out. Great, but there's someone else that half-asses it. He gets the sandwich out, but he half-asses it because he hates doing it. But he knows that's his job, making those sandwiches. But he gets them out there. But the sandwiches ain't good as they're supposed to. Which one are you gonna keep around? So I gave him that advice, and I said also, you can have the best wrestlers in the world, but if they can't entertain your fans, it's irrelevant. So this goes out to the promoters and the wrestlers. So this covers your other base.
Mhm.
Wrestlers, if you're just going out there hitting your moves, hitting your cool spots, and thinking that's gonna get you booked all the time, it may in some states, because some states are all about the competitive style of wrestling, and in some companies are. But at least in Maine, people want to still be entertained. So you can hit all the cool stuff, but don't forget the fans exist. Take your time with your entrance. That little kid in that front row that reaches out for a high five, but you're too busy running to the ring to give him that high five. What the hell are you doing? That little kid might come see you at your merch table afterwards, and then have their parents buy your autograph, and he might put that on his wall in his room, and he might cherish that the rest of his life and remember you because you gave him that high five, and you thought you were the coolest thing ever. Or you could be the guy that just runs to the ring, hits all of his cool moves, and try to have the best match of the night, and then not care about that little kid in the front row. Well, that little kid's gonna grow up to be an adult one day. He's gonna remember the one person that gave him that high five and gave him a signed 8x10 that he put on the wall, or that do rag off the top of his head. He's gonna remember that guy, not you. So there's one for the promoters. There's one for the wrestlers. Um, I feel like there's another part to this question. You said there was one for the wrestlers and the promoters.
Motivational,
New-
inspirational, tips, tricks, promoter, and wrestler. You nailed it.
Okay.
That's it.
Inspirational stuff. If you're starting out in the business, I'm gonna give you two answers. One you're not gonna like, one you're not. One you are, one you're not. Okay. Um, if you're starting out in the business, someone should have gave you the warning. What the warning is something I give before every training session. I don't know if you remember this. I used to say this before every seminar. When you get in the business, you're never going to look at it the same way again. If you watch wrestling as a fan, as soon as you get in any part of that backstage stuff that you think is cool, you think you want to know about, it's going to change your perspective and change it for you. If you like watching wrestling right now and enjoy it, do not get involved. Wrestling is for everyone to enjoy. It does not necessarily mean you should be involved. Now, people probably don't want to hear that, but I've watched people come through a training class. And they're passionate and they want to be, they love wrestling and they love watching it. And they've come to shows and then they do a training class. And I never see them after that because it wasn't what they thought it was. And I've now ruined them. This is way back in IDB days. And then I ruined them. I ruined wrestling for them. So now I give a warning. So here's your warning. If you're looking to get in the business, but you really enjoy wrestling now, the way it is, if you don't want it to change, do not get involved. Just buy a ticket, watch the shows, and enjoy every bit of it that you can. Because, boy, I love the 90s, man. Watching the 90s and late 80s, watching Sting and Ric Flair at the Bash and things like that. I'll still watch them on YouTube now. But guess what? I can't watch any of the modern shit. Just can't. But the positive end of that same coin, if you get involved in business, will you make a lot of money? Maybe, maybe not. Depends how good you get. Will you have a fucking fun time doing it? Yes. You may get some cuts and bruises and bumps and bruises and bandages along the way, but it's a hell of a good time. When you turn my age, your body might start falling apart, but boy, you're going to enjoy it. You're going to love that rush that you get every time you walk through the curtain and the music hits and the fans cheer your name or boo you, depending which side of the fence you're on. You're going to love that too. It's like a drug. A good one, not an illegal one. This one's legal. You can definitely have it. Nothing will compare to it. And everybody that's done anything will tell you the same thing. That drug, nothing will compare to it. So enjoy the ride. But remember, there's always a toll. You got to pay it physically, mentally, emotionally to get that rush. Is it worth the toll? It's up to you.
Man, you should start making wrestling fortune cookies. I love it. That, my
Got you
friend.
all in your feels, didn't I?
No, it's great stuff. And again, thank you for being here. That, my friends, was Eric Johnson. I'm Lewis, and this has been Beyond the Crown podcast.